The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Daniel Jeremiah's latest mock draft is out, and what he has the Jets doing is very intriguing, and who he has not going in round one is even more intriguing. We'll break it all down. Dylan Tereman will join us. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Wish you could have been a Jet, Fernando.
Let's see what happens.
What's your message to the Jet fans in New York?
Jets, Jets.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Please hit the like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I want to thank the ASMANIAC community for helping us hit a new milestone number. We're now at 44,709 subscribers. My goal is to get to 45K, and then I want to get to 50K by week 1 of the NFL season. With that said, before we bring on Dylan Tereman, I want to shout out all the Patreon users. Thanks for your support. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Huge shout out to Doc Jet Fan, who signed up for the year, Brian Holloway, who signed up for the year, and AJF, the Australian Jet Fan, is now a Patreon member, and he joined our Discord earlier today. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show if you want to be a part of the best community in all of sports. With that said, let's say hello to DT. He's in the Discord. The Dylan Tereman Experience is the name of the show that I named, that Dylan hosts. I don't even know if it's actually called that, but Dylan joins us now. What's up, DT?
I just given up on correcting you on the Dylan Tereman football show. So I like the experience. You know, it adds the element of surprise to it, a little bit of mystique. So appreciate you, man. And it's always good to talk draft. We're kind of through the heavy portion of the free agency. The roster has gotten better. And now it's time to focus on the draft and who we should, maybe shouldn't take. I think it's funny. Everybody knows who they don't want, but it's not always, you know, they don't know who they want, but they always know who they don't want. And it's kind of funny.
It's actually a really good point. It's like, no, we can't take this guy. Okay, well then who do you take instead? That's actually a very salient point by you. I know everyone's got March Madness on their mind, but around here we got Asmaniac Madness. Congratulations to Amanda Madison on her win over Jordan during the first show today. This afternoon, we have Paul Faz, the 12 seed, taking on the Chuck Wagon, the 5 seed, the actual NCAA tournament underway. And we'll keep you updated if Siena could upset Duke. Right now, they're up double digits in the second half, which is pretty neat. 16 up against a 1. If you follow Asmaniac Madness, you know that a 16 can definitely beat a 1. So we'll keep you posted on everything going on in that department as well. But Dylan, let's get into a mock draft from Daniel Jeremiah, because I think it's fascinating on really a number of different levels here. We'll skip pick 1 because we all know who's going 1 in the mock draft. It's basically like the free space on a bingo card. It's like, here you go, fill out your mock draft. Fernando Mendoza is going to go number 1. And then the Jets are on the clock at number 2. And with the second pick in Jeremiah's mock draft, the New York Jets select Reese, linebacker / edge from the Ohio State. Jeremiah writes, I go back and forth between Reese and Texas Tech's David Bailey here. Reese, with the experience playing on the line and off the ball, gives the Jets more scheme flexibility in their 3-4 defense. I have become pro Reese. I like Bailey. I just think Reese gives you the opportunity to maybe swing for that superstar you're looking for at pick 2, the first non-QB in the draft, the best non-QB in this draft. I think he's a perfect fit for their defense. I love the fact that you have some veterans that the Jets have added to help mentor Reese. I trust Carl Dunbar, the D-line coach, to put Reese in the best position in his development. So I'm all for drafting Reese at 2. What say you?
I think this, first of all, if you're trying to be predictively correct in your mock draft, Daniel Jeremiah would probably get all of the points because it seems like this is working towards being the heavy favorite for the pick. For me, I think there's probably about 6 names you can invoke for me at 2 where I would understand and like get on board with the thought process. And that's Reese, Bailey, the 2 that Daniel Jeremiah is on the fence about, Ruben Bain, the 3rd edge from Miami. Carnell Tate at number 2 is fine for me in terms of talent. Mekhi Lemon in terms of talent, I think is fine at 2. I know a lot of people would push back on that the most. And then Sonny Styles is another one for me. So there's 6 players right there, and you're not even including Caleb Downs. So there's really like 6.5, 7 players where they're in the mix at number 2. But I do think Arvell Reese is pulling away with this. The talent is pretty, self-explanatory. He's only 20 years old. So that ceiling that he's going towards is not even, close to being completed. Whereas, maybe a David Bailey or Ruben Bain, and understand more of what they're going to give you over the long term of their career. Arvell Reese has so much more projection involved with him, which makes it hard for a lot of people in the draft business. But if you think you can unlock that potential, like you said, with a Carl Dunbar and all the other, coaching additions that they've made on this team, even Bowling from Houston being the linebackers coach, because he's going to play off the ball next to DeMario in some capacity, maybe only 15%. I think this is one of the best choices they can make as a non-quarterback. And I will go back to what Robbie said a lot in his episode, Fighting for Reese against Bailey with Frankie V. And I'm not saying, I'm so out on David Bailey, but I think Robbie made a lot of good points. And then the graphic he shared showing all the different fronts and potential things that they could do with their front 7, including Arvell Reese in that picture, including a 4-2-5 where you keep your edge rushers like Osai and Will McDonald on the field, and you have Briggs and whoever it is standing next to him in the middle at DT. And then you have DeMario Davis and Arvell Reese as your 2 linebackers, and Jamie and Sherwood's not on the field. And it's like, okay, you can really, kind of understand the vision. And I would say I want him to be an 85% edge rusher, 15% off-ball linebacker in year 1, maybe even skewed more towards edge rushing duty specifically until he like really hones in on that craft. But I can't fault them for thinking that they have the ability to unlock that potential. Will they? We don't know. But if there's anything about this coaching staff, including the head coach, Aaron Glenn, like we know that they're going to bet on themselves to get the most out of whoever it is, including Justin Fields.
Had to bring up Justin Fields. Had to do it. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Dylan Tereman's our guest. Hey, end of the show, Jet fans. Let's do a great giveaway. Thanks to you for all your support. We're going to raffle away a signed helmet by Wayne Corbett for anyone who enters during the show. We have our weekly raffle tomorrow. Curtis Martin signed helmet, Garrett Wilson signed jersey, Vinny T signed jersey. So you have till the end of the show today to enter both the weekly and, of course, our daily raffle coming up at the end here. With that, I want to kind of dive deep into the picks after Reese is off the board at 2, because I think it really kind of gives you an idea how one of the more respected draft analysts kind of sees the board. So the Jets make their pick at 2, and if you follow along in the mock, at 3, we get our first potential surprise. Francis Mauigoa comes off the board here, DT. He goes to the Cardinals, which pushes now Jeremiah Love down to number 4 to the Tennessee Titans, which is a fascinating pick if Bob Saleh adds that level of playmaker with his offense with Cam Ward there. Number 5, Sonny Styles comes off the board, a name that we've discussed potentially going at number 2 to the Jets. Number 6 is Carnell Tate. Keep track of the receivers, because obviously that is something that we're all going to be considering with the Jets' next first-round pick at 16. At pick 7, Ruben Bain Jr. goes to the Commanders. And I bring this up because Jeremiah has David Bailey falling all the way to number 8. We've been debating Bailey versus Reese, and here's Daniel Jeremiah, who has Bailey falling all the way to 8. And I find it interesting because in his blurb about the Jets, he says, I go back and forth between Reese and David Bailey here, yet he has Bailey falling all the way to number 8. So what do you make of that?
Yeah, and I also think it also adds another layer of the potential intel he's getting about the New York Jets plans specifically, because if he is focusing on edge rusher and he is split between Arvell Reese and David Bailey, that's signaling that he thinks there's a specific scheme perspective that they're going at with this number 2 pick. And maybe Ruben Bain is the odd man out, because why wouldn't Ruben Bain be also in the consideration for number 2 for DJ? And then to have him go above David Bailey, who would be the, quote unquote scheme fit over Bain, which I think Bain would work completely fine in this Jets defensive front. But it is interesting. We did the mock draft exercise, me, Kev, Dom, and Nick on Shine's channel. I had the Cardinals take Maui Noah at 3, and I didn't know DJ's mock at the time. And then at 7, I had the Commanders, and I took Bailey. I don't remember if Bain was on the board or not. I don't think he was. But it's like it kind of points in a direction where if David Bailey doesn't go at 2, does he fall all the way to a 7 or an 8? And to the point about Jeremiah Love, real quick, I remember coming on the show in like November and like joking about the Jets. You have to muster up some interest in Tai Simpson at 2 or Dante Moore at 2, even if you don't want him, to get somebody to trade up over the Cardinals who are going to need a quarterback. And that might happen with Jeremiah Love. And maybe the Cardinals don't take Jeremiah Love, but the Titans and the Giants are kind of fighting each other right now for Jeremiah Love. So can they trade out of 2 and have somebody like the Titans or Giants come up, and then you still get your blue chip defensive player, which would probably be David Bailey at that point? But it is interesting to see how far Bailey slides if he doesn't go at 2.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see, what his floor is, what his ceiling is. I guess his ceiling would be 2 to the Jets, but I just found it interesting that he wrote in the blurb, hey, I'm between this player and that player, and the player he doesn't pick, he has fallen all the way down to number 8 for what it's worth. As we keep going through the mock draft here, I found some other DJ picks to be notable as well, DT. At pick number 9, the Chiefs take Spencer Fano. Fano, I think, is actually a name to watch for the Jets at 16. I haven't heard anyone talk about this. I've heard from some people that they view him more as a guard than a tackle, and I wonder if the Will Campbell experience with New England last year will maybe scare some teams off, that if a guy's a in-betweener, maybe he falls a little bit. If Fano made it to 16, and let's say some of the receivers aren't there, keep a note of that, Jet fans. I don't think it's totally out of the question. He'd be the best player available on their board, and they would take him. But in this mock draft, he goes number 9. Caleb Downs goes 10. I bring this up because a lot of people are talking about that 7 to 10 range for the Jets. If they were to move up for a player, many people assume it'd be a receiver. But Downs is there at 10. Any chance the Jets fall in love with a guy like him, or maybe it is one of these receivers and they're trying to move up to get him?
I mean, I think it's a reasonable range, because I've said that about the wide receiver position as well. 16 and 44 on the point scale, and obviously it's not an exact science, but the Rich Hill trade chart says that 16 and 44 can get you all the way up to 7 in terms of point value. Now, maybe you have to throw in a day 3 pick to win over the person trying to trade out from 7 all the way down to 16 in the Commanders. But if that's what it takes, and you want to hone in on somebody like a wide receiver, or more specifically a Caleb Downs, I don't know if I love the team building process of trading up for a safety, but I do understand trying to come away with as many players that you believe to be a blue chip, sure thing, first round talent, which in this class, ESPN only has 10 of them after Dante Moore goes back to school. So if you don't think there's more than 11 or 12 first round grades, and you're sitting there at 16 and you don't want to quote unquote reach for a guy like a Tai Simpson or a Denzel Boston or whoever it is, then yeah, trading up and getting a guy that you feel is a blue chip, foundational piece of your offense or defense is certainly a smart move, in my opinion, because you have so many holes on this roster that sacrificing maybe one additional draft pick is not going to really burst the bubble in terms of roster building when you want to go get what you deem to be a blue chip safety.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, your super chats. They, of course, cut the line. You see the Dolphins at 11. I thought they'd be in play to potentially take a wide receiver here after they traded Jalen Waddle. But Mansour Delane, the corner from LSU, he goes here to Miami at 11. At 12, back-to-back corners. It is a very talented corner class. Jermod McCoy from Tennessee. He is the selection here at 12 to Dallas. 13, sorry, Jet fans, Mekhi Lemon to the Rams. You could see this being just a home run selection for Sean McVay and company. He's off the board. So if you're keeping track, DT, that's now 2 receivers that have gone in the first 13 picks.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Pick 14, Jordan Tyson is gone. So the big three receivers, this is why I brought up potentially moving up. The big three receivers, or at least the three we've talked the most about until, little teaser, today. The big three receivers are gone. Tyson goes to the Ravens at 14. Number 15 is Akeem Mesidor, the defensive end from the U of Miami. So now the New York Jets are on the clock, and everyone's asking, what is Darren Muji going to do? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you right now, the pick is in. Jeremiah has the New York Jets drafting wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana University. He writes, Cooper would be an awesome complement to veteran receiver Garrett Wilson. The former Hoosier is a tough pass catcher who could play inside and outside. What is this, Kyle Clifton, inside or outside? That said, DT, Omar Cooper Jr., for those who watched Fernando Mendoza this year, you saw this guy make a ton of plays. He's the one who had that incredible catch against Penn State in the back of the end zone. He's clearly a supremely talented dude, but it does kind of feel like he is skyrocketing up draft boards, because I remember we had conversations about him being in play at 33 or 44 for the Jets. And here is Jeremiah, one of the more respected analysts in the business, mocking him at 16. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I joked yesterday. Omar Cooper Jr. is the Kyle Clifton of Garrett Wilson's. He plays the inside and the outside. He gives you special teams upside as well. I just started diving back into his tape because I did the early season tape study on guys like Fernando Mendoza, and that's at the time when Surratt was, highly, favored over an Omar Cooper Jr. And meanwhile, he quietly ends the season with 15 passing touchdowns, and it felt like maybe going into the national championship game was when the lights kind of came on and like Omar Cooper started ascending past Elijah Surratt. And then we got through the combine process and Omar Cooper runs a 4.42. And I'm not saying 40 speed is the only thing they love about him, but he is now firmly a first round pick. And Elijah Surratt is maybe a fringe top 50 pick at best. I feel like he's not even in consideration when I'm on the clock in mock drafts for the Jets at 33 or 44, who pretty much need a wide receiver with one of those two picks, if not both, honestly. So I like the pick of Omar Cooper Jr. I just got into the Oregon tape, which is they played him twice. So I wanted to see how he played them in the regular season and then in the college football playoffs and see how he might have bounced back after a bad performance. And I'm halfway through the first game and I like a lot of what I saw already. He's a solid mover, really explosive at 6 foot, 199, 201 pounds, depending on where you look. I think the true combine measurement was 199, but some sites have him a little over 200. Explosive is all hell. Like I said, he ran a 4.42, 37-inch vertical. And I put on the Oregon tape from regular season, and he immediately wins on a red zone corner route, and Fernando has to bail out of the pocket. He probably could have hung in there and threw the ball. But Omar Cooper Jr. immediately got open. And yes, Elijah Surratt gets open, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of comebacks and hitch routes on the boundary and back shoulder fades and things like that where, it's just one-on-one. I see it before the snap and I'm just going to predetermine and throw it if I'm Fernando Mendoza. I think Omar Cooper does a little bit more of the dirty work for Indiana. And 15 touchdowns, he certainly is the productive wide receiver as well. So I'm cool with it. I don't know if I personally, I'm trying to figure out where I draw the line of, okay, do I take wide receiver 4 or do I take Tai Simpson or do I take Vangalleone, who was also on the board at this selection, right? I think about those horizontal big board comparisons and, okay, is it worth taking wide receiver 4 over potentially guard 1 and Vangalleone from Penn State, right? You said Spencer Fano's in the mix, and I certainly agree with that. Dom C even said he can play center. So there's a lot of things that can come into play at 16, but I don't know where the line is. But in terms of talent and the player, I like Omar Cooper Jr. a lot. And people, I think, are putting him higher than Jordan Tyson. I think Connor Rogers did in his most recent wide receiver rankings. And, I think that should turn on some lights for Jets fans to be like, hey, this might actually be the pick at 16, and we should probably lean into it a little bit.
So I like the player a lot. I'm always just wary of a guy who moves up boards seemingly as rapidly as he has when there's games not being played. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep. Which I like about Tai Simpson right now. And Daniel has been very consistent in how he has ranked Tai Simpson. He was 40th in his second most recent big board on the 20th of February. And then after the combine on the 5th, he only bumped him up 2 spots to 38. Usually when they start getting intel that a quarterback is going to go in the 20s, all of a sudden they just make a big jump up their big board because they want to be more predictive with where the quarterbacks are in their big board, as opposed to, okay, he's the 25th best player on tape, but 3 weeks ago I had him at 38th best player. So I actually like that DJ is kind of holding firm with the quarterback talk, but it is interesting when games aren't being played, how things change. And maybe some of that has to do with the interview process. And usually that's players moving down, right? So it's kind of interesting that this is all coming out with him specifically, but yeah, he's a really fun player.
Yeah, look, I like him. I really do. I think you hit on something that's a big debate here. You know, do you take the fourth receiver versus the best guard in this scenario, right? Like you could take Vega Ione from Penn State, who Jeremiah actually has falling all the way down to number 22 in his mock draft, for some perspective here. So this is a very unique and bit of a surprising mock, I'd say, from DJ. Kind of goes against some of the consensus that we've seen, which I like, because I think Jeremiah is plugged in and he talks with scouts and GMs constantly to help form his opinions and put these together. I think that's the debate for the Jets. Do you go receiver at 16, or do you take an offensive lineman who could be there? Could be Fano, could be Vega. Like I think that's certainly in play. And then another player we should mention, we'll get to the Tai Simpson stuff, but Dylan Tereman, the safety from Oregon. Safety, look, it's not a glaring need because they've made some moves in free agency with the additions of Minka Fitzpatrick via trade and Dane Belton, and they even brought back Cisco from the minimum. So it's not like it's like the ultimate glaring need, but it is a very good safety class. And Thieneman's a guy that you and I watched, I believe, at the Senior Bowl up close. I feel like there could be a scenario, DT, where the Jets are debating, is he the best player on their board at 16?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways that you can go. Everybody wants another Dylan T in their life, and that's understandable. I understand I can't fulfill it for everybody, but yeah, Tereman is another guy. I like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren also, who went 25th to the Chicago Bears in this mock. So I'm cool with a safety at 16. Like we talked about with Downs, like if you think that they're like that, they're probably not blue chip players at this range, but I call them red chip players, the next thing down. So if you think one of these safeties is a red chip player, you totally go do it, because I think defense is the easiest way for Aaron Glenn to save his job. And I don't think you need to operate solely under that perspective. But if you think that that guy is actually way better than the offensive guy that you're comparing him to and his immediate impact on the team, I just advise going for the player who's going to give you the immediate impact. I understand everybody wants the flashy wide receiver and the sexy offensive guys and things like that. But if you truly think the defensive player is better at 16 and the board falls where there's not a Mekhi Lemon and you don't like Omar Cooper that much to this extent, or a Denzel Boston or a Tai Simpson, then yeah, probably go defense. But that's why I lean into like Vanglione, and I can lean into Spencer Fano as well, because just finish out your offensive line in the trenches and work your way out.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Dylan Tereman is our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some ASMANIAC madness to set the stage for right now. All right. This is unlike anything you've ever seen before. A tournament of all tournaments. Let's get everyone up to date, DT, on where things currently stand, shall we?
ASMANIAC Madness is underway. Make sure you vote to make your voice heard.
Oh, we're going to be voting. Here we go. We've done the left side of the bracket, the inside-outside region opening round, the Dangerous Alliance region opening round. Now we are in the Extraordinary region. So the round of 32 has already been set inside-outside region. The round of 32 has now been set in the Dangerous Alliance region. And here we go. The round of 32 will be set by the end of this upcoming week. Gary 3D Boxing advanced yesterday. Amanda Madison with a blowout win advanced earlier today over Jordan, which means it's now time for the 5 versus 12 battle featuring the Chuck Wagon and Paul Faz. They are going to go at it today. Your vote determines who advances to the round of 32. Ladies and gentlemen, voting starts right now.
Who's gonna be the best of the bunch?
Vote, vote, vote to determine who advances to the very next round. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a membership shout out in order? Bo C entering the Wayne Crabette helmet raffle at the end of our program. Bo is in because he gifted 5 channel memberships. Bo, you are the absolute man. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. And of course, this is for you. Let's go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
America. Dominic D'Angelo gifting a membership. He is in the raffle for 1. Let's go. Hit the Jet chant low ski. Derek, the Kansas Jet fan, was the first to do it as the show was getting underway. He is in the raffle for 1. Thank you, too, Derek. All right, couple super chats. Then I want to get into the Tai Simpson conversation because you'll notice in Jeremiah's mock draft, Tai Simpson does not go in round 1. But Doc Jet fan starts it off with this super chat. He says, I'd be shocked if the Jets draft 11 players. Here is why. Current cap space, 40.4 million. Effective cap space if they draft is currently constructed $24.4 million. They always could create more cap space, Doc, if they wanted to with some restructures of some contracts. So I don't think that's a concern. But I do agree. I don't think they're going to draft 11 players because we've already seen Darren Muji show the ability to be aggressive in drafts. He traded up several times a year ago, and he loves making deals. He loves trading picks for veteran players. So I would be surprised if the Jets used all 11 of their picks. I think they're going to move around. I think that's what a lot of these younger GMs tend to do.
Yeah, and I'll echo kind of all of that, and I'll even give like a little tongue-in-cheek kind of asshole-ish answer. They won't pick 11 players or draft 11 because they only have 9 picks. So after they've traded a couple away, they only have 9. So even at that 9 number, I don't think they're going to draft that many. So yeah, that's why I advocate, if they want to trade up and risk a round 5 or round 6 pick, I'm okay with it. Now, if you had to mortgage, future draft capital, I wouldn't do that either. But yeah, it's important to note that the cap space for our draft class is pretty significant because you're picking that high.
Right. And again, I just think they're smart. They understand that. They know what they're doing.
4 contracts are going to probably get fully guaranteed, right? Because Tyler Shuck last year at 40 started, that as a quarterback, like I want to be fully guaranteed. I believe Mason Taylor was, I think it was 87 to 92% fully guaranteed, if not fully 100% guaranteed with his contract. So they're slowly getting to it. And I think there might have even been a 3rd round player that got such a ridiculous number of guaranteed money that almost the full first 2 rounds might be fully guaranteed money. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Totally agree. And I do think ultimately we are going to see this general manager be aggressive when he has to. And I still think the trade back conversation is also going to be in play, especially if the scenario plays out that Jeremiah has at DT. Tai Simpson does not go in round 1 in this mock draft. Could you see Tai Simpson falling out of the first round? And then obviously from a Jet perspective, if he's there at 33, the Jets could take him, or this is maybe the opportunity you have to get some teams that like Ty but didn't want to take him in round 1. They're going to come calling. And if you're the Jets, you might be able to get a significant offer to move back. You don't get Tai Simpson, but you get a boatload of resources, maybe not just for this year, but for 2027 as well.
Yeah, I think there's really 3 paths that I would like to see if this scenario specifically plays out. 1A would be the Jets just stick and pick and take Tai Simpson, and they don't have to do anything crazy. Nobody's really gonna crucify them for the pick because now we're really Tyler Shucking it. Like we didn't waste a first round pick or quote unquote waste a pick. Or there is 3B where they trade up into the first round, because if they're going to take him at 33, maybe they just trade up into the 27-ish range. Okay, so maybe there's that situation. But then there's also, you could flip one spot with Seattle. If you see him on the board at 32 and they're not going to take him, obviously, you can flip to 32 and sure yourself the 5th round option or 5th year option, or you can trade back one spot to 34 and go say, hey, Mike LaFleur, what do you think about Tai Simpson in the second round? And see what happens from there. Maybe they take Jeremiah Love at 3, and then they can get Tai Simpson at 34. I think they would consider that a home run for the Cardinals. So maybe you can swindle them into moving up one spot. We did that with the Minnesota Vikings, right? They came up from 11 to 10 for J.J. McCarthy, and then we ended up picking Olu Fashanu anyway at 11. So if you know who the guy is at 33, just call up 34. I think 35 is the Titans, and 36 and 37 is the Raiders and Giants. So you're probably not getting too much closer to where you are, obviously. But if you want to trade back even further to a team in the 40s that might want Tai Simpson, I think it's all on the table. And I have to go back to it every time because people just think because I like Tai Simpson that I want him at 16. I'll take him at 33. That's obviously the value there is just undeniable. But if they don't like Tai Simpson at all, I'm never going to advocate for them to even take him at 44 or 103. If they don't like him, then keep passing on him, but drum up interest, and maybe the Cardinals flip a pick with you and you come away with an extra third-round pick.
100%. I mean, look, it comes down to what is the value of that 33rd pick versus how do you feel about Tai? If you have any conviction on him, I mean, I don't even know if the Jets would have a conviction on him and he's there at 33 because I think just to make sure no one else jumps in front of them, I think they probably would have traded back into round 1 to take him, maybe. We just don't know. I don't know truly how the Jets feel about Tai. Do they like him, not love him? I feel like if you're drafting a quarterback, even at pick 33, that's still not a nothing pick. That's basically an extension of the first round. You got to feel really good about the guy. I would take him at 33. I'm okay with that if they did it. I think a lot of fans would be split even on that. I don't want him at 16, but this kind of feels like the ultimate scenario. He falls out of round 1, and you got an opportunity to take him.
Yeah, I think a lot of people's like worst case scenario, how the board falls, right? Like Venga, Fano, all the wide receivers, all the edges, like that's where I start entertaining Tai Simpson at 16. Again, it all depends on how they feel. But yeah, 16 to me would be preferred if they didn't have to. And I said it on your show when we were at the Senior Bowl. If they had to trade up, and now I don't think LA should or will pick Tai Simpson at 13, but if you even had to get up to 12, it depends on their conviction level on him. So like for me with the quarterbacks, I don't care how much okay, if we're giving up 5 first-round picks like the Browns are proposing, no, I don't want to come up for the quarterback, right? I even put a poll out. It was like, would you rather trade 3 1s to flip with the Raiders and take Fernando Mendoza, or would you rather just naturally pick Tai Simpson at 16? And I think it was like 2/3 said Tai Simpson, but like 1/3 would give up 216 and a 2027 1 for Fernando Mendoza. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a smart move either. So it's like, I don't know, just take him at 16 if you like him. Don't risk it till 33 unless you have a plan to, Jermaine Johnson back into the first round, which would just be ironically hilarious if Muji traded a key star player for 2 first-round picks and then traded up into the first round to have a 3rd first-round pick, just like Joe Douglas did in 2022. It's like we're so cyclical here. It's like it's just change the bodies and the faces and the voices, but it's all the same.
It really is. It really is, man. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Does Tai Simpson fall out of the first round? I think he does unless the team trades back in to take him. Again, Dylan, you went through the teams. I don't think Miami's taking him at 11. I really don't think Arizona's even going to consider him at 3, so forget that. I don't think the Rams are going to take him at 13 when they're all in to win. I don't think we're going to see the Steelers take him at 21. I'd be surprised if the Jets took him at 16. I think Tai could really make it to 33, and then the decision is, do you take him? Do you trade out? Do you take a different player? I mean, I've looked at some of the returns teams have gotten from moving out of the number 33rd spot. Ironically, one of the teams that traded up was the Titans for Will Levis a couple of years ago, and they traded with the Cardinals their 2nd-round pick, which was pick 41, their 3rd-round pick, which was pick 72, and a 2024 3rd-round pick. So that was the following year's 3rd. So think about that. The Jets, essentially, if they did a similar deal with a team, they could potentially get an extra 3rd in this year's draft and the following draft. And obviously they'd move back and swap 2s with the team that was coming up for pick 33. I'd have to strongly consider that because that is a huge haul to move out of 33 if I'm getting an extra 3rd and another 3rd in 27.
Yeah, and you said the Titans were picking 41st, so it's 8 spots. Like in that range in the second round, in this draft specifically, the differing in opinions is going to be so crazy. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars might have this guy as their 37th ranked player, but the Jets might have him as like their 58th ranked player. And we just don't know in this range specifically. So yeah, if you can move down 8 picks and think that you can comfortably get, say you like 3 guys on the board and you want to move back 8 spots. I know that's not obviously the best math, but you give yourself a high enough probability, right? That's 37.5% chance that your guy makes it to you 8 picks later. So yeah, I would totally consider that. And then you get that 3rd round pick. God bless Joe Douglas and Hassan Reddick. But like, we need a 3rd round pick, in my opinion, because that's where you can attack guard, in my opinion. That's going to be the spot where you can go get that depth offensive lineman who could give you center guard versatility. So yeah, you have to entertain it. And you mentioned the Steelers, and somebody mentioned it in the chat. They should not stop working and developing with Will Howard. Like, Will Howard is a very talented quarterback. And also, it's funny to see them take in DJ's mock Blake Miller, the tackle from Clemson, because it says Broderick Jones has underwhelmed at left tackle. You know who Broderick Jones was supposed to go to in 2023, Jake?
The New York Jets.
Before Bill Belichick made a shiesty trade with Pittsburgh, and they thought they sniped us, and we got a 10-sack player in Will McDonald anyway. So it is funny how these mock drafts are kind of flowing, and the Steelers should not take Tai Simpson at 21. And I say that not because I don't want them to, but like, they have Aaron Rodgers, they have Will Howard. Like, I think they're set.
So veteran Jet fan did make a good point in the chat. I should consider Cleveland. They do have 2 first-round picks as a possibility for Ty. They're picking at 24. I suppose that's a possibility. I'd be a little surprised. I think the Browns, at the amount of quarterbacks they already took, I think they're going to get Monk in a year with Shador and Gabriel, and they'll see whatever is left of Deshaun. And then 27, they'll make their move for their QB. So I'd be a little surprised that the Browns went quarterback again. But it's the Browns, so we can't rule it out.
Yeah, and I think they also have 2 really high second-round picks, if I'm not mistaken. So they'll have their swings at the bat. But yeah, obviously DJ had him taking Carnell Tate, and then at 24, he had him taking Caleb Lomu, the tackle from Utah. If you just said it was Tai Simpson, right? And they got Carnell Tate and Tai Simpson. I feel like that's a dream draft for a lot of teams to come away with, wide receiver 1 off the board, and then a quarterback that at least that team believes in. So yeah, that would be an interesting spot too. That's a good call out, veteran. But yeah, it is interesting that this is 2 mock drafts in a row. DJ doesn't have Tai Simpson going in the first round. And I think that lends to the, intel that he's getting, because a lot of times he does the mock drafts with his ears and he does his big boards with his eyes. And he said that before on his podcast. And that's what I think he's sticking to right now.
Well, it's interesting, too, because someone wrote, well, what about Miami? They have 2 first-round picks. I don't think Miami, after paying Malik Willis, is going to take Ty Simpson at pick 30 now.
No, and Malik is a 2-year deal, essentially, right? That 3rd year doesn't have a ton of guarantees, but it is just interesting. They do the trade the day that they drop their mocks, DJ and Mel Kiper. And I think, like, on the fly, they probably had to pick a guy for Miami at 30, and they both take Keldrick Falk. And I'm like, okay, is this like a coincidence, or like Miami is probably prioritizing the defensive side of the ball? They have Jeff Hafley. I mean, unfortunately, Malik Willis probably has to throw passes to himself, and that wouldn't have been the case in New York. And we've probably told everybody in the world that as Jets fans, it was always the better landing spot than Miami. And we're seeing this in real time, like 2 days after the ink dried on his contract. This is a terrible landing spot for him, unless they really turn it around and they go with Mekhi Lemon or somebody like that at 11. And their GM literally said they're not going to have a lot of 5'9" wide receivers. So are they going to get the 5'11" guy from USC? Probably not.
Hit the like button, comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Make sure you vote. In Asmaniac Madness, it is the Chuck Wagon and Paul Faz going at it as hard as they can. All right, some super chats here. Then we're going to get to your calls coming up. Kyle Clifton checking in the raffle for 2. I'd much rather Sadiq or Vega than Omar Cooper, but I have a renowned tight end bias. I think I'd rather Cooper than Sadiq. Vega I could get on board with if you're talking about the 4th receiver off the board versus maybe a top 10 player. He just happens to play a non-premium position. Like, I'm all about BPA within reason. So I have to really see, because I like Vega. I don't love the idea of taking a guard at 16. I prefer a receiver. But again, It just feels weird to me that, Omar Cooper is now going to go in the top 16 when no one had that a week or 2 weeks ago. It's like I always get weary of guys that skyrocket boards when there's not actual games being played.
Yeah, definitely something to watch out for. In terms of the take, I would take Venga over Cooper. Sadiq is interesting, and I think for me, how I would build an offense in today's modern NFL, I would like a tight end too that's better than Jeremy Ruckert. Do I need a Kenyon Sadiq in this role? Probably not. But if that was the route that they wanted to go, and like, we're going to lean into the 12 personnel, and what we're going to do is we're going to pass out of that 12 personnel. We're not just going to say, okay, here's wing right and our two attached tight ends to the same side of the line of scrimmage, and then we're just going to run behind them every single time. And it felt like they were getting a little bit too predictable in that way under Engstrand last year. So I want them to prioritize 12 personnel. I don't know if Frank Reich is going to. He seems to be a pretty heavily 11 personnel influenced, which is 3 wide receivers on the field. So we'll see how Frank Reich wants to, if Seth Ryan can pull in some pass game concepts that allow for more tight ends. I just don't know if they'll target one this high, but yeah, Sadiq is a fun ass player, man. He's so fun to watch, and like his in space movement and blocking is cool. So like he doesn't even need the ball in his hands to like be a part of the offense. So I would say that I would, be on the fence between Sadiq and Cooper, and Venga I would take over Cooper for sure.
Mike Perez with a super chat. He's in the raffle for one. He says, yeah, I have a bed bug bite, but that's okay. Nowhere else. Nowhere. This in reference to the first show today where Beast Breaker said that he has bed bugs. So Dylan, what's your piece of medical advice to Beast as he deals with the bed bugs?
As somebody who not witnessed, but went through somebody in my family dealing with a bed bug issue that they contracted from their local laundromat. Please be weary of laundromats, everybody. Yeah, Beast, you're going to have to throw everything out, my guy. The bed's going. Everything's going, dude.
He's salting the bed, though. He said that's the strategy.
Nah, man. You got to throw it out. You got to buy new furniture. I've seen this play out before. You can try to resist, but nope, not for me, man. I don't do bugs. And like down south, we got these palmetto bugs, which are cockroaches that fly. Dog, a cockroach that flies might be the craziest thing, but bed bugs might be the second worst critter I wouldn't want to encounter. So yeah, throw it all out, Beast. Throw it out the window where you pee out of.
Ladies and gentlemen, a super chat from Ralphie Rocks, who's in the raffle for 2. Keep in mind, once the Bama Pro Day takes place, Ty stock will go up even more. No one looks bad at a Pro Day for sure. But again, like teams you would think would be a little smarter than just being like, oh, he threw good against air. Let's move him up even higher now.
Did you see the Drew Aller dot at his Pro Day yesterday?
Yeah, I saw that people were going after whoever said it was a dot because it was a bad throw, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's the Locked On Nittany Lions podcast host. Not, discrediting Locked On or anything, but that was the furthest thing from a dot. When you're throwing a rolled out like that, first of all, you don't want to put it high and inside. Nick Shine tweeted it back at me. He was like, everybody but Ahmad Gardner is taking that to the house. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Every corner is taking that back for 6. So, yeah, please don't call it a dot. I also saw somebody repost Zach Wilson's Pro Day and say, look at this throw from Drew Aller. And people fell for it. They didn't read the logo in the middle. That clearly said BYU. And I'm like, oh, guys, Pro Days are just fodder for draft Twitter anyway. Like, we just go crazy over it. It means absolutely nothing. It's just another time in the process for a team to get eyes on, to have a conversation with. I don't think they care about what he runs at his Pro Day if he ran at his combine. Now, if he doesn't run at his combine, maybe they want to see what it is. But, yeah, people can look bad at their Pro Days for sure, Ralphie. I think Drew Aller didn't look great either.
Ace of Spade with a super chat. Dylan, why is Ty better than Cole Payton?
I mean, for one, much bigger program. Alabama versus North Dakota State. I understand North Dakota State is like not a terrible school, but like level of competition you're going against, processing power. I think Tai Simpson is like kind of robotic with his movement in the pocket in a good way. Obviously, like there's a bad robot, right? If you're a little rusty and you can't get out of the pocket, but Tai Simpson to me, I don't know. He's just like, his processing ability, his accuracy when it's there. I mean, obviously every quarterback has their moments, like especially under pressure where they're not accurate. Cole Payton, watching him at the Senior Bowl, he had some okay throws. It felt like a lot of times he left it either too like lofty or it was short. Like he couldn't find that balance in between. He couldn't really layer throws as well either. Maybe teams, maybe only the Atlanta Falcons have him on their big board because he's a lefty quarterback and they want to add him to the mix of Tua and Michael Penix. But it's just, I don't know, man. I don't think they're even close to comparable. But like, if they don't want to go Tai Simpson and they want to take a day 3 guy, I'll throw support at Cole Payton because I feel like he has the mentality of a quarterback. When we got to interview him on the field, he gave really good answers. He's a really smart person. So I'm not saying he's like awful. Like, I just don't think the talent level is as polishing as Tai Simpson.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chuck Wagon, who's in competition right now, has gifted 5 channel memberships. Hey, now, let's go.
And here we go. Let's go. Let's go.
You got to love people always gifting on their day they're in competition, trying to get some extra votes here. Chuck Wagon's memberships went to Ike Got Next, Jody Joe, BG693, Richie LC, and Donnie Aroso, all receiving a channel membership. Chuck Wagon right now with the early lead in this ASMANIAC Madness battle. He's up 64-36. We're going to hear from both the Chuck Wagon and Paul Faz. Ladies and gentlemen, first up is the 5 seed. Chuck Wagon is on the line. So let's introduce the man the only way we know how around here. Hit it.
Chuck Wagon's always cooking, which it takes. Chuck Wagon's even cooking at the game. Chuck Wagon hates McDonald's, but he's headed home to cook. It's time once again for Chuck Wagon.
Hey, Jake. Hey, Dylan.
Chuck Wagon.
What's up, Chuck Wagon?
Hello, everybody. Just got home from work, running around. Have to get my laptop because now I have to go to the theater. My daughter's dance studio is performing Snow White, and I have to do projections. So I had to get my laptop and love dress rehearsals. Gotta love it.
Love that, Chuck. Now, you're a Siena grad, aren't you? So were you watching them almost upset Duke?
Yes, I'm still proud of them. Almost.
Yeah, great run, man. I mean, they had the lead in the second half against Duke, the number 1 seed. That's impressive as hell.
Yes. I think they said it was the first time a 16 seed that was the largest lead at halftime for a 16 seed because they were up 11. I was watching the game while I was at work, still doing work, of course, but I kept my composure, had supervisors around, so just had to pretend I was, being cool, calm, and collective the whole time.
That's what I think of, Chuck Wagon. When I think of cool, calm, and collected, I think of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, what's your pitch to voters? Why should people vote for you in this matchup against another great caller, the great Paul Faz? Well,
everybody in this tournament are Jets fans. I don't have to explain that I'm a big Jets fan because we all are. I was a fan at about 5 or 6 years old when I was old enough to understand what football was. My parents were never fans of any team, of any sport. So I guess you can say I'm a first generation's Jets fan. I had to learn the game myself, watching TV back in the 90s. It was just tough living in a small town, not many Jets fans around me. Actually a lot of Cowboys fans, which was kind of odd, but just follow the team and, again, been a fan ever since I was old enough to understand what football was.
Love it, Chuck. Well, I'll tell you what, you're a great caller. You add a lot to this community. Good luck against Paul Faz.
Thank you, and thank you, ASMANIACs. I do appreciate the vote. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chuck Wagon.
As Maniac Madness is underway, make sure you vote to make your voice heard.
we've heard from the 5 seed. Now let's hear from the 12 seed. Paul Faz joins us now. Hello, Paul.
Going on, boys?
Woof, woof.
About to take my dog to the vet, unfortunately. So bad timing, but I had to make sure I jump on. It's the mailman. So.
Oh yeah, his favorite person in the whole world, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna.
Yeah.
This will win you some points, Paul. The more
I gotta
more
put a
dog.
muzzle on. Yeah, he's a 120-pound shepherd. I gotta put a muzzle on him because he doesn't like the vet, let's just say that. But it's all good. Hopefully he'll be all right. But just wanted to do my usual shout out for those that don't know me. I've been an ASMANIAC for over 30 months, been listening for about 3 years. And I'm not really good at this kind of stuff, right? But been a Jet fan ever since the last football game the Jets played at the old Shea Stadium. That was the first game I ever got to. The fans were ripping the scoreboards up and tearing the seats up. I was so young, I'm like, holy shit. But, I've been a fan for probably 45 plus years. Love my Jets. Through all the pain, I've suffered it a lot longer than most, but some even more than me, right? But, I'm not really into the competition stuff. It's just the way I'm wound, but I'm a Marine, so I hate to lose, right? But at the end of the day, we're all fans. It's all about having fun. And I care more about my Jets turning it around for once in life more than anything. When you've watched as long as I have, all the embarrassment and pain and getting made fun of, all I ask is, can we just turn it around? And I'm going to, all of my calls are always short and sweet. I get on the best I can and when I can, and I donate when I can, but I'm never going to change who I am. But when I talk about the Jets, I want you to take, I'm still sticking to my guns. The 3 things that make a championship and a dynasty team are management, coaching, and a quarterback. And we've only had 3 franchise quarterbacks since I've been a Jet fan. And not even really 3, because I wasn't born even for one of them, right? And it's the one thing that we have to fix. And we can debate if Tai Simpson's going to be worth it or not. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be upset if they take Tai Simpson this year and get a little aggressive and grab him and then go next year and get Arch Manning. Like, I'm to that point where it's like, we're not good, and we've never been good at developing quarterbacks. And some of the organizations that are, like San Fran, always jumps out at you, but they're great at developing quarterbacks. So to me, I'd rather just take my chances, get as many young arms in the house as possible, and maybe finally we could solve a problem that we've had since Chad Pennington. And want to know your thoughts. Would it be such a bad thing to get, and I'm not saying get very aggressive, right? But I think when film comes out, I think we're going to really see that Tai Simpson's got a lot more than what we're really looking at. I think he has potential. No one knows with a quarterback. We've been down this path, but I don't think it's a bad thing to grab someone like him this year and then still go at it next year. I mean, we have to solve this problem. We can't keep doing it. I love the show and I donate. So I'm not just doing it because I am on today, but I'm going to donate again because I'm on today. How's that? And,
ladies and gentlemen, Paul Faz. Let's go, Paul. You're a great caller, Paul. Good luck at the vet with your dog.
Thanks, bro. Peace.
As Maniac Madness is underway, make sure you vote to make your voice heard.
What a battle, man. What a great region we're going through right now. Everyone's going to get what they want. The Gary versus Amanda Madison round 2 bout. Now it's Chuck Wagon and Paul. And get ready, because this tournament a year ago, it created the star that is Dave Briga. Dave in action coming up on this show. Coming up, I should say, in this region. So I'm very excited about that. We got Dave Briga doing battle. One punch. Dave Briga will do battle against Tommy OG. That will be tomorrow. We got JJ and Lou B tomorrow afternoon. So things are happening, folks. Get ready. It is going down. DT, Paul Faz is a man of his word. He gifted 5 channel memberships. Let's go. These are from Paul. If you hear your name, Rob Cohn, Captain Conder, Brad Brown, and Doug Hurst, all receiving a gifted membership there from Paul Faz. Let's get to more of your calls. But first, a super chat from the Peter Castro, who says, why not Taylon Green? So Green is like the raw but physical freak from Arkansas. DT, you and I saw him at the Senior Bowl. Your thoughts on him as a day 3 pick for the Jets?
I think the Jets are interested to a degree in Taylon Green. Now, he literally is his last name. He is so green. There is so much like work around the edges, being a quarterback that he really needs to hone in on. Not saying he can't do it. Obviously, he's going to get the chance to be a quarterback in the NFL at some capacity, even if it is just like an August quarterback for now, which is just playing in the preseason. I think it would be okay for the Jets to do it, but you really have to solidify your quarterback too, because I don't want Taylon Green one injury away from having to play football games. I'm okay with risking that for a Tai Simpson, right? But not a Taylon Green. His talent just doesn't speak to it, but the potential of Taylon Green, if you want to, consider him, he's a right quarterback because of his size, 6'6", 235. He also runs like Dom C compared him to me at Senior Bowl to Malik Cunningham. And I was like, okay, well, that's really interesting, callback comparison for a Taylon Green. So can he tap into that with the Jets on the bench and develop slowly over time? I would love that for him, but not as our quarterback 2 as it currently stands right now.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Eduardo wants to know, is the like button broken? It better not be. Prove to me it's not broken. We only have 154 likes. I appreciate you bringing that up. Eduardo, everyone click that like button. Helps the channel grow. All right, let's get to more of your calls right here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, up next is a man who won his matchup earlier today. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1 seed advanced, but it was a lot closer than many thought it'd be. Let's hear how Mr. 3D Boxing feels about that.
Now there's a gas station over here. I'm gonna go get some pizza and see if they have any butter to put on
it. Gary. This might be Gary's best call, some are saying. An extraordinary call by Gary. Dylan, you're on mute as well.
Jake's out here talking to himself. What else is new? Gary should have saved this one for his matchup against Amanda.
Gary, you're out there? I guess call back. In the meantime, there's a man out there that we need to hear from. Hit it.
Get ready for Neil. He will make 13 points about the New York Jets and maybe hump a Patriots jersey. Get ready for Neil. He's probably smoking a big fat cigar and burning his house to the ground. That's Neil.
Jake, my brother, Mr. DT.
Neil,
what's up, man? How are you?
What's on? You got your good hat on there? You're a YouTube golf watcher, DT?
I am a avid YouTube golf watcher, Neil.
Yeah, my son Neil wanted me to do a YouTube channel and drive around with him on a golf cart about a year or so ago. I should have done that. I could have been more entertaining as a bunch of these guys, but
1 year later, let's run it back. Me, you, and your son. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do a little thing. But you're on the island, DT, or not? I forgot.
No. I'm in upstate South Carolina.
On South Carolina, I just got back from Myrtle Beach. How far are you from there?
Like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, right. We'll get together. We'll do
anywhere. Yeah, my Cobalt goes
we'll
anywhere.
do a little thing for Jake's show. We'll do a little on the golf cart in action type of situation.
Hell yeah.
You okay with that, Jake?
I would love nothing more than that, Neil.
And then we'll do a little locker room visit with Vinny Testaverde. We'll get one of the Jets to come play with us.
Neil, who's the next Jet player that you're going to run into to get on the show? I mean, it was Joe
you guys are
Tippin.
breaking. I can hardly hear you guys. I hear every other word. You hear me all right?
Oh, I hear you.
Fine.
All right. Well, I'm sick and tired of this draft bullshit. I got to be honest with you. But I will say this. Without a doubt, we have to pick DT. We got to take this Tai Simpson and take a shot on him. If you're looking at the film on all the quarterbacks that are out there right now, is he clearly separate himself from the other guys? Not Mendoza, but the other guys. Yes or no?
Yeah, I would. And I've been kind of saying this. Like, if DJ, hypothetically, let's just say the Jets in his mock, if it was a 2-round mock, take him at 33. I don't think he's 32 players worse than Fernando Mendoza even. I actually think the gap is closer to where, like, picking him at 16 actually makes a little bit of sense. So I do think it's Fernando, a small gap, Tai Simpson, and then a much larger gap to who I would have at quarterback 3, which, Dante Moore went back to school. He had to, ascend people up the board that probably shouldn't be there. And then Trinidad Chambliss begged to go back to school. So now that moves people up the board that shouldn't be there. And then all of a sudden, like, Garrett Nussmeier is my third best quarterback that I like the most. And I wouldn't even take him till, pick 103 because we don't have a 3rd-round pick. So it is a big gap at that point from Tai Simpson down to quarterback 3.
I mean, Simpson gives us, from what it seems like, the best shot to come in the last. Let's say we're a 5-win team and we're, marching for Arch at the end of the year, and we put Simpson in. He has the best opportunity to look like a Jackson Dart or something special that we can hang on to versus any of the other quarterbacks. Would you say that's an accurate statement?
Yeah, I think he could easily do the Tyler Shuck thing for the New Orleans Saints last year, which was he played, I think, 7 games. He went 4-3 as a starter in those games. I think he fully played or played in parts of 9 total games in the season once Spencer Rattler was benched. And then I think he even had an injury where Shuck came in. So if you get a 7-game sample size out of Tai Simpson, like hypothetically, Gino gets you 9.5 games out into your season. And then whether it's injury or poor performance, or he gets punched in the jaw trying to talk to somebody in the locker room, then you put Tai Simpson in for the last 7.5 games. You got a good enough sample size where if he's good, you have Shuck 2.0 and 3 first-round picks. If
at the very worst, he's going to be a backup, and we'll take the quarterback anyway next year. But here's the problem.
You can also trade him. You can also.
By
trade
the
him.
way, Shuck started 9 games and was 5-4, so he played a little more than 7, which is good.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly.
So what I would say to you, Jake, is this. My big problem is this. And Dylan made a point of it earlier. To move up to number 1 to get the quarterback, and we never know. Arch Manning, is it safe to say that Arch Manning is I know we can't say it at this stage, but with another year under his belt, could we say that he's head and shoulders above Mendoza right now if we looked at it going forward? Let's just say he was in this draft and he had another year under his belt. He would be far ahead of Mendoza. Would you say yes or no?
If Arch Manning was in this draft without the extra season of starts, Fernando Mendoza is a New York Jet at 2 overall.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think there's a debate. You might be right just because the name Manning, but the way Arch finished the year, if that's the player he plays now for another season.
He did the opposite of Simpson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Simpson went down over the year and Arch went up over the year. If you end the season on a high, he was almost in contention for like Heisman towards the end, and people actually wanted to vote him in for the Heisman. I don't think he ultimately got it. I think it was Simpson, Pavia, Love, and somebody else. But I think Arch would be number 1 to the
Mendoza.
right.
That's who it was.
So clearly, if he has a good year, he's going to be the most coveted quarterback out there, without a doubt. And any team that wants a quarterback that's going to suck, that's going to be a number 1 pick, is not going to give that guy up if we give 2 or 3 picks of our next year's draft. So I don't want to take the chance. And I know we're not going to suck enough to be the 1st-round pick. Let's face it. We're going to win 5 or 6 games. We're going to pick 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 or whatever. And hopefully we'll pick higher than that and have a good season. But the reality.
And that's how we get a high pick. Or the Cowboys have a catastrophic injury that affects them. Or same thing with Green Bay. Like, you never know. And again, like, there's more than one good quarterback, Neil. So I'm not.
I get it, but
worried
not
about it
one.
being one.
But there's not one as good as. My point is this: there's not one that's going to be better than Simpson this year if we pick up next year, and we still have
We
to
don't
give
know
up
that.
draft picks.
Hold on, a year
It's-
from now, if Dante Moore balls out for another year and he's at closer to 30 now career starts because he's at 20, he'll be over 30 next year. He would be considered a better prospect than Simpson, who has 15 career starts, right? That's why he's going back to school for more seasoning. Same thing you could say with Julian Sayin as well if he balls out. There's other quarterbacks too, like Lenore Sellers will be a name we'll talk about.
I get
CJ
it, but
Carr.
they're all. Here's the point: we don't know what
We don't know
have.
about any of these guys.
They're all projections. Let's
Yeah.
take a shot with this guy Simpson.
But there's data, Neil. 15 career starts. There is overwhelming data that taking that player in the
I
first
know,
round doesn't
I
work
get
out.
it. I
That's
get it.
fair.
I get it. So what do we give up now? We don't take a quarterback. We beef up our roster, and we're still stuck with shit a year from now, like we are now.
Well,
We
they
still
might-
got to
but-
take a shot.
Well, I think they will draft a quarterback at some point. They could do it as early as the second round. I just think if you're being smart, you don't take the quarterback at 16 this year. You don't force it. Just build the team and be in better position with maybe a new coach if Glenn can't turn it around to pair up that coach with a quarterback he wants. Like if you draft Ty and Glenn stinks and you have a new coach, is that coach coming in coaching Tai Simpson, or they're going to want their own? Then you might be lighting pick 16 on fire. I just think there's a lot of concerns with taking him at 16. You could mitigate the risk if he's there at 33, and I think there's a good chance he will be.
All right. Let's just say, for all intents and purposes, we got to take him at, if he doesn't go by 33, we take him there, and that's it. If he does, that's going to be the consensus. This way, even if we get two really good players, one at 2 and 16, and we trade up and get Simpson at the tail end of the first round, that's
Yes.
a great. I would consider that a hell of a draft. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
guys?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if 16 was a wide receiver. Like hypothetically, we'll just use DJ's mock. He has Arvell Reese at 2 and then Omar Cooper Jr. at 16. If you trade up to like 28 or 29 in the first round and you get Tai Simpson on a 5th-year option and you only gave up like a 4th-round pick next year or whatever it is, like that's totally good value. And I think that that's smart because
That's going to be the move. That looks like the consensus move, Jake.
Ty Simpson can't be your first offensive move in the draft. I think that's the easiest way to frame it, right? Like if you got a weapon first, it would be so much easier to say, okay, yeah, Ty Simpson could go here. It's like if you draft Ty Simpson at 16, the first question is going to be, well, who the hell is he throwing to? Because everybody just thinks it's Garrett Wilson and a bunch of nobodies. Whereas Jets fans will tell you, well, A.D. Mitchell's okay, and Breece Hall is supposed to be a backfield weapon if anybody ever targets him in our offense. Mason Taylor too, but yeah, I think it would be easily digestible if he's the second offensive player taken in the draft for the Jets.
Sounds good. Guys, very exciting as Maniac Madness so far. Everybody's looking real good. I don't go for much of the ass kissing, the day of the thing here. You gotta go on your merits here more than your ass kissing. We're all Jet fans. We all been here for life. We're all lifers.
Who'd you vote for? Chuck Wagon or Paul?
I like both of them. Chuck Wagon is a staple on the show. Paul Faz is a knowledgeable Jet fan. I know he suffered a long time. He's probably older than Chuck Wagon, and he's been a longer. See, I go by who's the more long suffering. You follow me? I mean, look, if we're all in jail, if we're all in Jet hell, and we all had a chance to get out, you have to go by the oldest Jet fan to get out of jail first, and then go in order. Because to me, the longer you've been suffering, the more you deserve to get accolades as one of your callers. That's my attitude because, and I don't just say that because I'm one of the oldest, but we've been in the pain the longest. So we deserve to get accolades because we never get accolades as Jet fans, right?
I like the thought process, Dale. I do.
That's it. It's plain and simple.
It's fair.
Good
You
call,
guys
yo.
haven't been suffering as long as I have, and that's why I felt bad about Southern Jet. He's suffering longer than I am. Jesus Christ, he's been around since '60, so he's been suffering the longest. But you also have to look at who is a big contributor to the show and this and that, and I want to look at Jake. One thing I will say as we get on in the show. I think that the newer listeners, what's happening is this. What I see happening is a lot of the newer callers, and no offense to Amanda, I think she's great, but certain callers are getting the newness vote from a lot of the people that haven't been around a long time on the show. So
Well,
I
some
think
of the
it's
OGs,
important.
though, haven't called as much, though. That's the problem. This hopefully gets them back in the mix to be a part of it.
Yeah, but you have to show things like as we get on in the voting, as we get closer to the top 8 or whatever it is, I want to make sure that we give kudos to the situations and tapes that we had in the past.
Yeah, but
Like
Neil, think about
me
this, though.
kicking,
It's
me
based on the
kicking
last
Bonesy's
year.
ass. The Bonesy shoe sale was probably one of the best things that ever happened on your show.
But it's over a year ago. It's not relevant.
I don't. Oh, it was over a year. Yeah, I guess it's the last year, right?
Now people can remember that, and that helps build memories where people associate you as a great caller and all that. Want to vote for you because they like you as a human. But like that specifically is not relevant because it's only the seating's based on who has called in over the last year since we.
I get it. I get it. So we have to make some new memories, for this year. I don't have enough of those. I have to get a few more. I have to think of something that's gonna.
I'll give you a memory.
This is what I'm gonna do to you all season, little bitches.
There you go, Neil. We'll give you some memories. We got all the Neil drops. Those make an appearance.
Did we get to 13 points there? I think we did.
Yeah, we went over the threshold for Neil. Don't worry. Big fella checks in. He says, Jake, if we draft any Tennessee player, 20 memberships, and we use a pick and draft Tate Sandal, 50 memberships, LFG.
Good job.
All right. All right. So this is what we're doing here, Jake. We're taking Jermod McCoy at 2 overall. We're taking Chris Brazzell at 16 overall. We're circling back and we're taking Colton Hood at 33 overall. And then we will have all of the gifted memberships courtesy of Big Fella.
All of it. V-Man says Alabama hasn't produced a legit QB since the Snake. V-Man, you got to call in more, man. We miss you. Look, I mean, Bama's history, Namath, Bart Starr, the Snake, and then recent history, Mac Jones, Tua, Bryce Young. Do you count Jalen Hurts? He's kind of half Bama, half Oklahoma.
Yeah. Jalen Monroe, who's a backup, but he was the other one.
Look, you can't just use quarterback history, though, to determine if you're going to draft a guy or not. You scout the player, not the helmet.
I was just going to say that's the first rule anybody should ever teach you about trying to pretend to be a scout on Twitter or YouTube like myself. Scout the player, not the helmet. It's the easiest thing to go by. Who cares what, anybody did in a jersey before them? And I don't care. Like Mike Evans, everybody loves to compare people to Mike Evans, but it's like, do you realize people are trying to compare that to like the 12-year NFL pro Mike Evans, who was always eclipsing 1,000 yards? So it is funny how it's just like, we just don't know.
We do not know. Ladies and gentlemen, Lou B checks in. Dylan, are you voting for me or JJ tomorrow? Well, it's going to be quite the battle going on in that one. By the way, Lou B, you're tomorrow afternoon. I want to make that clear. The first show is Dave Briga and Tommy OG. Second show is Lou and JJ, who hasn't called in since he welched on his bet. So let's see how the ASMANIAC community responds to that.
Could you imagine if JJ's just been like watching in the shadows, lurking, and he shaved his head after whatever that bet was that he didn't, he went back on. He said he was going to shave his head, right? That was the bet with you.
Yep.
And he didn't do it. So what if he called in tomorrow afternoon for his matchup and he's just completely bald? That would be crazy of JJ. But yeah, that's going to be a good matchup. Shout out to Lou B.
Lou B, one of the all-time greats. All right, let's get to more of your calls. A bunch of you are on hold, so we got to make sure we get to everyone because I already could see this show is going to be a little long. Ladies and gentlemen, up next is a man that we call Bobby Midnight.
Well, I love the Yankees and the Jets, and to read the Super Chats are more than just a hat. Bobby.
Hello, guys. How you doing? Hi, Jake. Hi, Dylan. How you guys doing?
Hey, Bobby.
Good,
how
Bobby.
are you?
Very good. I see Dr. Lacani tomorrow. He says he likes how it's healing. Dr. Fox
Very good.
likes how it's healing too.
Are you
Yeah.
walking?
So, Dylan, you're a great person. You know a lot about sports, Dylan.
Thank
Keep
you.
it up.
Just football.
What
Just
they were-
football. I don't know shit about any other sport, Bobby. I'll be
Well,
honest
I
with you.
know football is good. I don't know a lot about other sports. I just like talking, So,
Yeah,
Jake,
that's
what
why I
was
say
your
I'm a
question?
Yankees
I thought
fan.
you
I'm
asked
just
a question. What, are you a Mets fan?
I say I'm a Yankees fan because I don't really know shit about baseball, but like the Yankees have always
Well,
been,
Yankees are a great team.
it's the easiest
Yankees are a
default
great
answer.
team. They open in San Francisco.
Hell yeah.
That's
Are
who
you
we
pulling a
play.
David
Jake,
T,
you were gonna
Bobby?
ask me a question. What?
Are you pulling a David
Yeah, I
T?
know because the problem is I don't have a camera on this stupid computer. Remember, I had it inside the other computer. I gotta fix the camera in there. Yeah, I do look like David T. You're right on that. So,
Are you walking yet? Have you gotten used to the 9 toes?
Yeah. Well, they still want me to use the walker, so I have to use the walker when I walk. But I'm getting used to it. No pain, no nothing. I feel good. Sometimes, like Nick said, you feel like you still have the toe phantom stuff. I don't feel it. I feel great. Yeah, I'm doing great. I have to shave. Yeah,
You do
we
have to
could do
shave.
that. Yeah, definitely. I got to shave. I've been bad. The ladies at the nursing home shaved me. This beautiful girl. Oh, she's beautiful, but she's married. But she took care of my face. Yeah, very good. I remember 2 of them when I used to go. Remember the time I had high blood sugar? It was 1984. I told you that, right? Story?
Calm your freaky down.
No, did I tell you that story in 1984? Blood sugar? I
When
almost
you had
died.
high
that year.
blood sugar in
But I went-
1984?
No, that was the high blood sugar was in 1984. That I almost died that year. And then I remember the 2 girls, Robin and what the hell? Jamie. And then
Calm your freaky down.
okay, calm. I haven't seen that in a long time, Jake. Jake,
sexy.
She was good. You know, she's good caller. I think she's a good caller. I think
Your
who's
nurse?
tomorrow you said? No. Amanda. You know Amanda that calls in. She's
Calm
a good.
your freaky down.
So who's on tomorrow? Who's the people doing tomorrow?
Who's in battle in Asmaniac Madness?
Who's doing? Yeah, who's tomorrow?
Dave
I
Brigham.
voted for Paul Fels. Yeah, I voted for Dave
Lou
Berger,
B.
yes. And JJ. I'm taking JJ.
Why? JJ
That's my
said that
boy.
he'd shave his head if the Jets missed the playoffs and that he never called in.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't hear that one. So he should come on and shave his head. Yeah,
Gary wrote in that
that's
this
a
is
bet. At
disturbing.
least it was at money. Yeah, I know. It's horrible.
And I was saying you're disturbing, I
It's
believe.
very horrible. I am disturbing. Of course, you know that. What are you laughing about, Dylan, over there? I see you laughing. I give you compliments and you laughing at me?
I'm glad that you're leaning into Gary's comments because I'm glad you're not like being combative with Gary about his comment. I like that you're leaning into it.
Oh,
and
what
you're saying,
comment was that? I
disturbing."
didn't read
like
it.
that.
I didn't. What did he
He
write?
said you're disturbing.
Well, Gary, you're the same way. You're disturbing to everybody else. Amanda gives you shit and she sticks up for herself. So, Gary, I would have typed that. I don't know where you are. I saw you yesterday. You probably, I don't know, where, a hotel room I saw you in. I don't know. So,
What if I
Jake,
were to tell you
haven't
Gary is
planned a-
back in his native land?
Oh, you mean New York?
Oh, I mean, he's in
was
Texas. Hello,
supposed-
Gary.
Oh,
And you're on mute.
I didn't.
I'd say
start
Gary
this-
will
this
learn
shit,
to
so get off
unmute
my
himself.
ass.
Yeah, well, I'd say about a third of the time I get it right. So if I'm in baseball, I'm doing great. You know, if I'm shooting free throws, not so good. Peak Andre Drummond. But if I'm baseball, 1 for 3 is pretty good, is it not?
This is not baseball.
How about Team USA? Harper goes 2 for 4. Everyone else goes 2 for 4. Everyone else goes 1 for 24. Great job, guys. Great job. Way to
And
hit-
Gary should be happy. Hofstra made the tournament. Yeah, let's go Hofstra. We like that team. We're gonna go. St. John's is gonna win.
St.
And
John's,
Duke
Hofstra,
won.
LIU.
Oh
All
yeah,
right, if you
yeah.
guys want to go to
LIU
Rumble,
made it.
I have to
don't
move
like.
forward here.
I don't.
Good to hear from you, Bob. I was fully expecting a Gary Bobby Midnight Rumble, but maybe Bob is calmer now since he only has 9 toes.
Yeah, that was his angry toe. They took it, and now he's now neutral Bobby. That was a good call from Bobby.
V-Man says, I have some serious catching up to do before I call. Okay, V-Man. Whatever that means. More of your calls right now. I think my audio is popping. I got to do a reset of my StreamYard in a moment, but let me get another caller for UDT. Thunderlips is next. Hello, Thunderlips.
What's going on? How are you guys doing?
I'm good. Jake's about to just
Oh my
drop
God. You see
Thunderlips
what
on the
happens?
call
He hears,
and leave
"Get off.
out.
Get off. He hears Bobby's voice and he tries to stomp on my nuts. That's what happens when you call into the Bobby Midnight Show. Anyway, so just wanted to say,
Hi,
to Neil's
Marshmallow. How you doing, my pal? Is he there?
you hear him? Is that your buddy?
Yeah. Oh, there's my boy. Go see
No,
Daddy.
I'm standing up because every time he hears your voice, he stomps on my nuts like he's freaking Smokey the
Well, he
Bear and putting
loves
out a
me.
fire.
I love you guys. Will you coming to a Jet game this year?
Bobby, I miss you, man. I haven't
Are you
seen
go-
you like
What?
online in so long. I hope you're doing well, man.
I know. Well, I had health problems. I'm sorry. I had my toe chopped off, my mean toe, right? Dylan?
Your angry toe.
Is it
A
your
mean
strong
toe.
foot? Is it your left
Yeah,
foot?
it is a mean toe. Yeah, it was broken before I went to the doctors. Dr. Lewis, he said you can't do any. This was about 7 years ago, I think. And the doctor said you can't do anything with that.
What happened?
I had to. It just. The doctor said the bone in there got. What is that called? Infected or something like that. But it looks
Do you have both
good.
your
I can't wait for
testicles,
tomorrow.
Bobby? Bobby,
Oh
do you have both
yeah,
your testicles?
I'm not like what's his name in King of Queens. I
Me?
have one testicle.
I had testicular cancer. I have one testicle. So you're talking about phantom pain?
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. You're a good guy.
Maron, let me
I
tell
like
you.
your French
So,
tickler.
yeah, you like my French? I'm sure you do. But you know what? Like your health could be worse.
Yeah.
You're alive. It's your toe. You know what I mean? Like not to sound
Yeah,
cynical,
well, I'm
but
doing a lot better. I feel better.
you have both your
I didn't
arms.
even
You
feel
got both your
pain.
legs. It's good.
Yeah.
But you look,
Yeah,
Bobby.
me and,
I can
Nick
see the
China-
clarity in your eyes. You look beautiful, and he's gone.
He's got it. He's talking over you because the internet's terrible. Go ahead, Thunderlips. We can't see you now, though. You're just a dark hole.
Can you not see me or no?
We can't see you.
All right, I'm gonna call back because I did want to tell you something very important. So I'm gonna call back.
Okay. All right, you do that. In the meantime, I'll get to more calls. Derek is next. Hello, Derek.
Hey Jake, hey Dylan, how we doing today, brothers?
No, Derek.
Jake, I wanted to bring up something that you was talking about yesterday morning about so hypothetically speaking, if we took Tai Simpson at 16 instead of 33, which I'm not a fan of, by the way, do you think that would kind of tie Simpson to Muji, kind of like Zach Wilson did with Joe Douglas? And do you think say we took him in the first round and he struggles, do you think if AG gets fired and we get off to a rough start next season, do you think fans or maybe Woody would blame Muji for picking Tai at 16 and maybe think about removing both of them if Tai's bound at 16 instead of compared to if we take him at 33 or something?
I do think if Muji takes him at 16, it puts more of an onus on him. It's like a true, like your first major big swing decision you're making in the draft. Like taking Membo in round 1 last year, like not easy. You get credit for it, but you know, he was thought to be a legit prospect. You took him, you hit on him. You take the swing at quarterback at 16, you're not guaranteed to get a chance to take another one in 2027 if it goes poorly for the Jets overall, regardless of whether it's more Glenn or Muji being responsible for that.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say kind of the same thing. I will just play devil's advocate because I was thinking about this as Jake was going there. If Tai Simpson doesn't go to the Jets and he is passed up at 16 and, you know, he goes in like the 20 something range, right? Like 24 to Cleveland or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How good does the prospect we take at 16 have to be for us to say, yeah, that was the smart move over Tai Simpson, because if Tai Simpson is just league average, like how good does the wide receiver have to be for us? Probably top 15. You know, like he has to be pretty up there in terms of his production to say without hindsight. Because, you know, I feel like even the guys that don't want Tai Simpson now, if Tai Simpson was on a different team lighting it up, would immediately say, damn, the Jets could have had this guy. So, like, how good does the guy we need or we to select at 16, how good does he have to be for us to not say that about Tai Simpson on another team? So that's just the devil's advocate of it. But whenever you take the quarterback, you turn over the sand hourglass. And now it's like, okay, we have to shit or get off the pod. Is this our quarterback? Is it not going to be? We have to figure it out. So, yeah, it's an interesting little situation to be in for the Jets.
Yeah. So like Geno starts off rough. Maybe we're off to a 1-5 start. AG potentially gets fired. Ty shows glimpses as the backup. Plays well enough, even though our record's bad. If the record's bad enough, do you think if Ty shows enough flashes, you think we'd keep Mooj if we were to move on from AG or something kind of like that?
I personally don't. I think you probably just, and it's not just wrapped up in the Tai Simpson picks exclusively, but I don't know. I don't know, like, again, similarly with the prospect, like, how good does Muji have to be? And how bad does AG have to be? And, like, visibly see the separation of those things to say, yeah, Muji definitely deserves it. I can see the path. Like, there is a realistic path where Muji keeps his job and AG doesn't. I just don't know. Like, we saw Joe Douglas in 2022 just have the most ridiculous draft class, and we all loved it. And then it still didn't amount to anything. So, like, how good does Muji have to be? And how bad does AG have to be for us to really feel strongly about that? Or would he feel strongly?
Yeah, I love it. I just got two more things. Hypothetically in the draft, if Tyson and Lemon are there at 16, which would both you guys prefer, you think?
You want that one first, Jake? Or you want
I'd take Lemon over Simpson.
Yeah,
okay.
No, over Tyson, right? He said it.
Or Tyson, yeah.
Lemon over
you
Tyson.
said I thought you said Ty. Okay. I would take Lemon over Tyson because the health concerns with Tyson, I don't have those with Lemon.
Yeah. If I knew what the team knows about him medically and they still think highly of him, you can argue Tyson there. I just have Mekhi Lemon as my number one wide receiver over even Carnell Tate. So yeah, I would take Mekhi Lemon at 2 if I'm being honest, and just say, hell, have fun. Go AD, Garrett, Mekhi Lemon, and whoever your quarterback is. And Geno will probably do the Ryan Fitzpatrick, Deshaun Jackson's down there somewhere, F it, and just throw it down there. And one of those guys is going to catch it. So, yeah, I would say Mekhi Lemon over Jordan Tyson.
Heck yeah, I love it. And then I just got one more thing in reference for Beast. I've never had bed bugs personally, but I'm going to echo your sentiments, DT. Yeah, Beast, you got to throw all that out, probably light a match and then throw that on there. And you might be in for a long run of having to toss some stuff out, but definitely don't hop back in that bed before those are taken care of. And also, yeah, you're just going to have to probably be purchasing a lot more stuff. I think I'll take the rest off call, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. JETS, Jets. Let's go, baby.
Derek, thank you, man. Keep it rolling here. We got a raffle coming up at the end of the show if you want to enter for a Wayne Corbett signed helmet. Super chat from Maseby says, Jake, how do you lose in a sport you invented? Soon international NFL teams have their own Mahomes, Lamar, and they'd be winning like Venezuela baseball. Well, Venezuela, one, is really good. They're a team full of major leaguers, and there's pitching restrictions, right? The U.S., you can't truly have its best team because you have a certain amount of innings you're allowed to pitch your guys. Like, for example, the U.S. has the best closer in the league in Mason Miller, who's on the Padres, and the Padres told the U.S. manager, Mark DeRosa, hey, you can't use him unless it's a save situation. So when the game was tied after the Harper home run, instead of going to the best closer in the league to keep the game tied, you went to an inferior reliever, and then the guy on the Red Sox, Whitlock, immediately gave it up. So give credit to Venezuela, but the U.S. just didn't hit. I mean, it's baseball, man. That's unfortunately what happened there. Let's get the
Red Sox guy ruins it. Of course, the Red Sox guy ruins it, right?
Yeah, that made me feel good at least because everyone's getting on Judge for not hitting when no one hit besides Harper that night. But
did he run out with the flag? Is that true?
They all did, to be fair.
Oh, they all did? Okay. Because I saw the Aaron Judge or the Aaron Rodgers thing about Aaron Judge and like how nobody should ever run out. Like New York athletes should just stop running out with the flag. And I'm like, no, he did that. And then at least he didn't get hurt, but he just didn't have a good day, I guess.
Yeah, he didn't get a hit. He was like 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts.
That's rough.
All right, more calls. Thunderlips is back, and we can see him this time. Hello, Mr. Lips.
Hello, I'm Mr. Leany. You guys are only voting for my wife because you guys are virgins. So, what I recommend is only voting for Thunderlips so that we can secure the win. We can move on. Who's with me?
Mr. Leany, why would you vote against your wife?
Because you guys are weird and you're just voting for my woman because you guys are virgins. And it's weird. I don't like it.
This is my life.
This is my lame son. He gets no bitches.
I love him. He's my favorite. Out of
The
all
wig
my
is
three
incredible.
kids,
Wearing my socks.
I'm not wearing. These are your socks. That's not your. That's mom's fault for putting your socks in my laundry.
Oh, I have your socks.
All right. So Jake, I want to apologize to you. Okay.
Here.
Uh-oh.
Oh no! Oh, we lost Lips again.
God
Lips.
damn it! Wait, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Lips.
We hear you. We can't see you unless that's your mustache crowd in the
Well,
camera view.
that's exactly what my wife says.
Lips.
Can you see me? Can you
Can you
feel
hear
me?
me?
Hear me?
Yes, I could hear you and I could see you.
Well,
we
we
can't
can't
see
see
you or feel you, Lips.
Wait, you can't feel me.
I know this would never happen if Leany called in.
Is this Mike D's nuts?
No, it's Queen Leany. The silver-haired beauty. She loves the Jets. Leany used one punch to take down the beast. Queen Leany is the best. The Asmaniac home pass. It's Queen Leany.
That's going to be a fun battle. The round of 32. Leany against Thunderlips. The 16 versus the 9.
That's what happens when you steal your Wi-Fi from your neighbor, Thunderlips.
God. What is happening to Lips? All right, let's get to more of your calls here. And we got a lot of you on hold, so stay right there. And I promise we're going to get to everyone. Let's say hello to Ralphie Rocks, who's next. Hey, Ralphie.
Hey guys, how are you?
Ralphie, what's up, man?
Good. I know it's a football show, Jake, but baseball, that guy Mark DeRosa, I don't think he's ever getting a managing job again. That was terrible, and that's that's a terrible answer.
Yeah. I mean, look, to me, I don't blame them for them not winning the championship, not knowing that they didn't clinch and playing the B team, and they're thankfully Italy beat Mexico so the U.S. could back in. That's tough to come up from, and then just not owning it, and then trying to be like, no, I didn't misspeak. We know, like, no, you didn't. You didn't play your best lineup. That's just nothing made sense. It's tough to kill him for not being able to go to Mason Miller. Like, if the team says you can't use the guy, like, he's not going to pitch that guy.
Yeah, but that's BS too, because if you say you can't use him in a save situation, if you're the home team, if it goes to extra innings, then you can never use him again because it'll never be a save situation. So that's stupid. That's a stupid answer too.
I agree, but that's why I think it should be done over 2 weeks for the All-Star break instead of doing it in March.
I know, but he definitely hurt himself. All right, let's go to Tai Simpson. I'm not an advocate of the Jets drafting him in the first round at all, but I think that he's definitely a first rounder. I think some team after us will either take him or someone's going to jump up to get him before 33. Because to get him with a 5-year contract is so valuable because he needs a little bit of extra time. So you would lock him in. So I think he's as good a prospect as Jackson Dart was. And Jackson Dart went, like 25 or 26?
Yeah, I have him slightly ranked above Will Howard and Jackson Dart from last year. And I had them as high second round grades. So I think Tai Simpson is a high second round grade, but there's not 32 first round grades. So to me, that lands him in the 20-ish range. So yeah.
And his position and the fact that quarterbacks get overdrafted and the fact that so many other teams either need a quarterback or they have an aging quarterback. And so why not get a guy who, if he would have stayed, maybe is a top 10 the next year and they reach a little early. So I don't think he's there at 33. And that's the case for us. I would definitely love to trade back from 16 because if you could find someone who's willing to trade up for somebody and you can get the type of haul, even what the Giants gave up to get Dart last year. And if you can get another second round pick this year, if you can get another third-round pick the following year and just accumulate assets. Because I'm a big fan of building a good team and then getting a quarterback, because you don't have to get one in the draft that way either. You'd be very attractive to a veteran quarterback who is not in a good situation with his current team. So if there's somebody who's really good right now who we know would not come to the Jets, and you start building around and you start putting together a potential another wide receiver one to go with Garrett Wilson, or you get this tight end like Sadiq, and you build some and you have a good offensive line, then why not someone that's having a problem next year, has a contract issue or is with a crappy team, why don't they want to come over? And also, if you're Darren Muji, you would want to tie yourself to the quarterback you get next year, because that will probably give you another 2 more years in your career, because you probably get a pass this year because you're doing some good things, and it looks like he's in a spot where he's coming back. Maybe Glenn wouldn't. And then you go with the quarterback, and then you tie yourself to that quarterback, and he's got another 2 years as GM. So
And last, Ralphie, good call. Unless you love Ty, and they love Ty, full bloom love, that changes everything.
I will say this about, he said trading down from 16 in DJ's mock at 24 to the Cleveland Browns, where he had them taking Caleb Lomu, the tackle out of Utah. He said Cleveland's gamble back at pick 6 pays off, as a left tackle prospect with first round talent is still here. I'm not projecting any trades in this mock, but if the Browns do indeed take a receiver with their initial first round choice, it will not shock me if they look to move up from 24 for a tackle. You know who went 17 to the Detroit Lions, 1 pick after the New York Jets? Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle from Georgia. Is there a world where Muji says, hey, you know, I don't want to move up. I want to move back from 16, and I want to claim my 3rd round pick and possibly a 2 next year to move back 8 spots or whatever it is. Let the Browns come up and take a tackle. And then at 24, whoever that pick is, I think it's more digestible if it's a Tai Simpson. So, yeah, I think to Ralphie's point, it's going to be interesting to watch him specifically. And all outcomes for Tai Simpson, I guess, wouldn't surprise me, except for him going like 2 to the Jets or 3 to the Cardinals.
Well said. All right, we got to rapid fire through calls here. Party with Peg and Artie. They're next. Hello, Artie. Possibly Peg. We got to rapid fire through calls here. Party with Peg. You're on, Artie. Yes.
Hey, Jake. How's everybody?
What's up, Artie?
Good. What's up, man?
Hey, Dylan. I loved your after party show yesterday.
I love that that's what people are calling it. I like that.
Yeah, you know, I tell you what, man. We watch Jet shit, me and Peg, from the time we get home till we go to sleep. Sometimes Peg bails because she does watch other shows. I don't. So we have a fun time with that.
I love it.
You know, the Sadiq guy is really a hybrid, though, man. He's like a slot receiver. He reminds me of a slot receiver that can block the shit out of somebody. I mean, that's a unique weapon to have. And I really think with pick 16 especially, we got to get weapons. Man, if we want Gino to have any kind of shot, we got to get him, you know, some help. You know, I mean, it's, you know, the guys in free agency left are mediocre at best, or they're washed up. The guy from Jacksonville, we don't even know if he wants to play football anymore. We're hearing all sorts of things about he don't like contact. That's why this and that. He didn't catch balls last year. He's got alligator on him. I mean, you don't know what to believe. And of course, during draft time, we're hearing all sorts of bullshit. To believe, but yeah, this Sadiq guy is really interesting.
Yeah, I really like Sadiq, and I think I think it was Kyle Clifton put in the comment, is it Cooper versus Vega or Sadiq? Yeah. I would consider Sadiq because, like you said, he's a power slot. He doesn't necessarily. He's a tight end in name, but he's a wide receiver, really, and he's a physical ass blocker. Like he sprung a couple runs of like 70 yards for Oregon, and I'm like, holy shit, like him coming across the formation and like hitting the guy at the line of scrimmage and being the lead blocker. I was like, that's really intriguing. And then you go up and see him make a back shoulder catch 17 to 22 yards down the middle of the field. And it's like, okay, this is really interesting. So I wouldn't get too caught up in, yeah, he's a tight end, but he's receiver 2 or weapon 2 behind Garrett Wilson in a lot of realistic outcomes on the season. He could be heavily targeted from the slot and probably outproduce an AD Mitchell, depending on who the quarterback falls in favor with. So I like the Sadiq pick, and I agree. It has to be a weapon or an offensive lineman before you go defense, at least in my opinion.
You know, and I was listening to Green Bean. Green Bean's the one who mentioned this about players' demeanors and how one of our biggest problems last year watching our guys play is that they were not physical enough. They didn't try to knock people's heads off. They tried to leg tackle everybody and dive for knees and things like that. They didn't have the killer instinct. That's why I'm also love a guy like Styles. I mean, that's how you change a culture. You get a guy that'll knock your fucking head off for once. We never had that in a long time. You know,
he's a great player, Artie, but do you do it at 2? That's the debate.
That's the debate. And, you know, like even like they're saying Bailey, how he avoids contact. He's a hell of an edge rusher, but he's a one-trick pony to me. And, you know, so yeah, I guess we just got to wait and see. But, Jake, I want to thank you. I hope you liked the video I sent you that we're going to play next week.
Yep.
I think it's going to be good. We got an even better one coming this week. I want you to see. You're going to love it. But, hey, let's give for 2 things, if you don't mind. From the schedule, it looks like our matchup with Great Rube is going to be on Friday morning. If there's any way possible to make it Friday afternoon, if the schedules work out, we would love that. If not, we'll make it work. And when you get a chance, can you show us what our little cartoon characters look like? Me and Peg. Peg wants to see it. She hasn't seen it yet. I haven't either. Just to see what it looks like, just for shits and giggles.
Artie, I will look into it, and I will talk with Boom, and we'll see if we can make that happen.
Thanks. You're the best, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen,
appreciate you, Artie.
With Peg and Artie. All right, here we go. I'm trying this one more time. If his internet craps out, that's it. It's over. Thunderlips.
Are we good, buddy?
Oh, we're good
for now.
For now. I mean, I've seen this story before.
Yeah, me too. DT, that's enough out of you. All right. All right. So I want to formally apologize.
There it is. Stop stealing your neighbor's Wi-Fi and spend some money, Thunderlips. All right, you sicko.
Leany might run away with this one, man. Like the first time, we'll excuse it. The second time, all right, it's getting a little annoying, Thunder. Third time, I think he just wants to get on the show, like and like be the new beast, right? Where you just pop on with Thunderlips and then he just says 3 words and you move on.
Ladies and gentlemen, as requested by Artie, here is the 7-10 graphic for the matchup next week between Party with Peg and Artie and Charleston Jets Rube.
3 beautiful people we met in person in Tampa.
Right.
Yeah.
Troy says, who is the next castaway Jet? Like, who's the next Jet they get rid of? Maybe they trade Jamie and Sherwood?
I was going to say, yeah, I feel like that's kind of low-hanging fruit at this point. I don't know. I guess I don't really care who it is at this point because there's not a lot of guys left on the roster as long as it's not Garrett Wilson. And like, unfortunately, like you might get a fed up Garrett Wilson by week 9 this year, and that would really stink. But yeah, he's the only one to me where it's like, if they traded him tomorrow, I'd be like, no, what the F? Anybody else, it's like, meh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. We have like nobody on our roster. Like, that's just what it is.
You're not wrong. All right, here we go. More calls before we wrap. We got to be done by 6:30, so keep your points quick.
Gator, I don't understand why I don't have an intro. Gator, I need an intro, buddy. A cool intro, please. I've been calling in, supporting Jake for over 4 years. You got Adam is too cool, Papa 73, and I don't understand why you won't create one. Women.
You have no sense of humor. That's the problem.
I don't.
When you have a sense of humor, then you can have an intro.
I'm worthy of an intro. All right, fine. I don't understand why I don't have an intro.
Hey, guys. Hey,
Rob.
Dylan.
What's up,
Hey,
Rob?
Jake.
How are you?
Hey, it's fitting that you played that intro first so you can show Dylan how I defeated Alan.
You knocked him out.
Dude, I'm
It's
really
over.
I'm really happy that you did. I didn't vote in that one. I abstained from voting. You swayed me when you called in last week and gave me a little bit of shit. I had not, I was gonna go
Really?
Alan, but I just abstained from voting. I didn't want to go and vote, but yeah.
You're on my good list again, Dylan.
Hey, you got a tough one coming up against the number 1
Ah.
seed in Clifton.
He's going to squash me like an Italian grape. I ain't going to beat him. He's the guy that everyone wants to win. Everyone loves it. And he's a smart man, great takes. If I lose to him, no shame. No shame. I hope I at least minimum put up a good fight. I hope the Asmaniacs get behind me and vote for me. Hopefully I can do at least decent against him. I don't see myself beating him. And he calls a lot too. He's earned it. So I have no problem with that. He's a good man.
I always look at it like most of the time if like hypothetically the Jets ever make it back to the playoffs, like if the team that beats the Jets goes on to win the Super Bowl, I feel a little bit less bad about the loss because it's like, okay, well, they were Super Bowl champs. Like we needed to go all the way to beat them. That's kind of how like you should feel about Kyle Clifton. Like he's probably going to go all the way. And if you lose to the guy who ends up hoisting the trophy at the end, it's like, okay, well, at least I was part of the legacy run for Kyle, right?
Well, if I lose, I have to pull for my Goombas, Neil and Peter Castro.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. That bracket is loaded with them. Yeah.
I have to go with the 69 club there. I have to. But you know, kind of a little bit piggybacking on what Neil said, you know, first of all, in lieu of what people think, I do have my own thoughts. I do think that I would love David Bailey. I would choose Bailey over Reese. And the reason is this guy is ready to go, pass rush, get us double-digit sacks. I really don't want to wait for Arvell Reese to develop possibly another year or two. And who are we talking about developing him? We're talking about Aaron Glenn and company. You know, they don't really have the best resume. So I have to say I definitely want David Bailey first. I see the talent in Reese, but I'd rather be more on a for sure thing with Bailey because he seems to be more of a sure pass rusher. I want to start off with that, then I have another point. Go ahead, Dylan.
I like that though because I think Bailey is like the toy that like you pull it out of the box and the batteries are already included and they're already in the back of the thing. You just have to pull the tab and set it off and it's going to go. And I think that's what David Bailey does the best is just off the line of scrimmage, his first step explosiveness, just go.
Yes.
I only disagree because I would rather take Reese because I think the upside of him as a run defender will help more, but they also did allocate some free agency dollars to guys that can stop the run. So if they did want to prioritize a designated pass rusher, I can't really fault them. So I'm not going to, oh my gosh, you said Bailey over Reese, you're the worst and you're stupid. No, absolutely not. I think all three edge rushers, Bain included, are in this conversation, and maybe the Jets happen to like one more than the other, but there's different flavors. And like, do you want the pass rusher? Do you want the violent run stuffer, or do you want the guy who could potentially be a little bit of both? And it's, kind of pick and choose what you prefer.
Exactly.
Good call, Rob. Look,
now as far as what I call it, I have to say I do want Tai Simpson. At
16.
I'll tell you, Jake, I would like it better taking him 33rd, okay? Or if we had to move up a little bit in the 20s, I would take him there preferably. Now, if there's no chance at all, would I think about 16? Yeah, I would. And I'll tell you the reason why, Jake. I just going on the film of Joe Blewett from the beginning, he sold me. He sold me on 1A and 1B with Mendoza and for Simpson. And if this guy has the talent that he says he has, and he had a coach, we're talking about he had a great coach there in Alabama. His father is a coach. The guy learned the right way. I think he would do well in New York. He responded well to Jake when Jake spoke to him that day. So I like that too. But I think he could possibly be a really good quarterback because everything else is so far down from him. We're not talking about there's a close third or fourth or fifth guy on the list after Simpson. You're talking about, if you talk about Carson, if you talk about all these other quarterbacks, they're far, or Aller or any of these guys, they're not even close to Simpson. So,
yeah, but you can't force a quarterback pick, Rob. If they don't have conviction that he's going to be awesome. Like you can't take him at 16.
Yeah. And maybe me saying top half of the league passer is selling it short. Maybe they think that he needs to be a top 10 passer for him to be in consideration at 16. So yeah, it's a lot of variables with the quarterback choice in the draft.
Thunderlips can't figure out how to call in, but he is trying to pay it forward to the community. 5 gifted memberships, so he's in the raffle for 5. Give him a hug, Woody.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Lips, he gifted memberships to Sam Masario, Desi Martinez, Thomas Sandler, 07 Flavivan, and Kathy Allen, who all got a membership there. Counting raffle names here. I'm up against it in a time crunch, which is why I'm trying to rush through these last couple calls here, but I truly appreciate everyone who's on hold. If you're on hold, I promise we will get to you, so stay right there. This man is in action tomorrow. Hit it.
He thinks that Gorman needs to get a freaking job. This cowboy hates to see Asmaniacs complain. What they call him, one-punch rigger. You need to get a job. What they call him, one-punch rigger. The beast is on his ass. They call him one-punch rigger. Has anyone seen Dean Mack? They call him one-punch rigger. He'll only need one.
Jake, Dylan, good afternoon.
Dave,
Look at
what
this
a look.
superstar. Look at this guy.
What a look.
I heard
yeah.
I heard coming home from work that I was on tomorrow, so I'm probably not going to be able to come on tomorrow because my friend's good friend of mine, his sister passed away, and we have to go to the funeral. So it's always something, man. Too many of these things anymore for me. But you know, I appreciate Bobby's endorsement. So a lot of jet takes today, so I'm just trying to get a call. I may not get in tomorrow, so I might, but I don't know. It all depends.
Well,
So,
no worries if you can't, Dave. Real life is
I got
more
my
important.
look at this. I got my original hockey jersey. This is 52 or 53 years old.
Wow.
The first team in northeastern Pennsylvania, 52 years ago. We developed this team, the East Mountain Masters hockey team. And if I could show you, my name is on the back. I don't know if I could get it. See?
I see it.
Oh yeah, hell
yeah.
Yeah, we've started playing on the lakes, you know. So it's a long time. I wish I could get out there today, but
yeah.
so all the guys are pretty much gone now. You know, not gone, but you know, it's tough to play with the younger guys. We used to play in the house league about 30 years ago, but it got too rough. It was supposed to be a no check league, but it didn't turn out to be that way.
You throwing some punches, Dave?
Huh?
You throwing some one punch, Dave Briggers?
I used to get slashed a lot by these kids, you know. I mean, so you know, the only recourse you had was, you know, when we played, you know, we barely had any equipment. You know, the kids today, they dress like gladiators. You know, the travel teams, and the parents are up in the stands. I never forget the one. So the kid hit, you know, they just used the old days. You didn't put the stick above your shoulder. It's a penalty. They don't play like that. I mean, that's long gone. You know, they don't even recognize that anymore. So it's tough to play against. You know, it's tough to play when the kids were like, say, you're like 40 and the kids were like 18. It got to be a little tough because the parents start getting involved, and you know, we had a couple altercations with the parents. You know, wasn't
wow.
very good.
I love those glasses, Dave. I can't get enough of this look.
You like those? You had to be there when we played the Pennsylvania State Police in Sunbury. You had to be there. If we only had tapes of that game, this would be great to play today. I mean, it was. I mean,
B says he got his ass whooped in field hockey, but he survived.
Field hockey. Well, you know, I don't know. I don't know how he got involved in field hockey.
He put on a skirt.
Maybe he thought it was lacrosse and he thought it was field hockey.
Yeah.
Was it lacrosse? Hey, listen, we're trying to get Beast out to the draft. You know, I signed up for the draft party, Jake.
I saw Dave. I'm so glad that I'm going to be able to see you there. That's great.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go. I tried to get Paul to come down. I was going to take him down, but you know he has to stay there long. So I told him to stop at my house. I'd take him. We'd go to Pittsburgh. You know, because from my house it's 5 hours. But that didn't work out. So, but I'm hoping to get Beast out there. Jason, you got to get him out there. He wants to go. He's got the offer, you know. He's got the free offer.
Did someone pass away today? Someone passed?
Yeah. Well, yeah, not today, but a couple of days ago, and they're having the viewing tomorrow and stuff. So
tomorrow,
lifetime friend.
So tomorrow, basically, there's a wake, and then Saturday there's a funeral.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Not you know, when you guys get as old as I am, you'll be going through losing friends, and you know, it's not a good time, but it's part of life. You know, it's part of life. It's
unfortunate, but it is, right?
Yeah. So there he is, the Beast Man. You got to do something with those. You got to do something with those bugs. When I work for the department,
They've already been terminated. I already took care of that. terminated with a vengeance. It's
Well, you got to make sure. You got to turn everything upside down. Turn everything upside down. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. You might have got them. This happens a lot when you travel on public transportation. We had an occasion in church. We had to dump furniture because people from the outside came in traveling on buses, and et cetera, and they brought bugs in. So you're traveling on those buses. You better make sure you check yourself out before you get back in the house.
Well, you know what I always do? Always turn this side.
Oh,
you put
okay.
a fight on them, and that was your way of terminating them, Beast.
So get back to the point.
And they see me, it's like, don't play with me, asshole. I'll kick your ass. And I'm gonna take Amanda's offer, and if she wants me to knock out Gary, I got something for him. Have you ever heard of the barber's belt?
He's got the barber strap.
And
Maniac Madness is underway. Make sure you vote to make your voice heard.
All right, I'll worry about the Gary Amanda battle.
Okay,
later.
let me just put
tomorrow. So if you can't, call, no worries. This community reveres you, knows you. So don't sweat it. You got real stuff going on.
It's well, listen. Let's hope. I'm facing Tommy, Jersey City Tommy. So Tommy, you better bring it, because I'm always ready, man. Bring it, Tommy. Bring it. Okay. God bless, man.
Appreciate
He thinks that Gary needs more shots upside his head. This cowboy hates when you don't believe in achievement. Well, they call him One Punch Brigger. The moon landing was free. They call him One Punch Brigger. His claim is not too dirty. Call him One Punch Brigger. Hated jokes, he's fighting sides. One Punch Brigger. Does it only need
What a call from Brigger. Ladies and gentlemen, home stretch. Few calls left. Then we're spinning the wheel of champions. And on the line right now is the opponent that Rob the Jet fan will see in the round of 32.
As you can see from my background, perhaps Rob and I can meet on common ground.
I love that.
So, yeah, I mean, I think I feel differently about the receivers than you guys do. I like Tyson. If the medicals come back clear, to me, I think he's clearly the guy. I don't think any of those guys will be there at 16, to be frank with you.
Yeah, I agree.
And then when you talk, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You think Omar Cooper won't be there at 16 either?
Well, that's what I was about to say. Is I kind of think Cooper is a step down, and you know I don't want to force it with any player. Like, let the draft come to you. Like, we have enough picks where we can afford to do that. You know, I think we can get nearly as good a player at 33 than kind of reaching a little bit for Cooper at 16, and that's what I kind of feel like it is. I would much rather take Sadiq if you were there, Vega, as I had said in my super chat. But it's just a matter of I don't think it's going to be defense. I think you guys are 100% right on that. But it wouldn't necessarily be Vega either. Like, you know, some of these other guys, if Maui No, or who I don't think will be there, or Fano project as a guard, like, you know, it could be a guy that you kind of don't expect. And I think, Jake, you kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, that Fano hasn't been brought up. I don't think it's sexy. I think the fan base would hate it, but it definitely fills a need to fill a guard. And you know, what are you going to do if the top three receivers are gone? And you're not going to reach for Simpson there. And you know, it comes down to Sadiq or filling a hole on the offensive line, and that's how you kind of have to think about it, unless a kind of mind blowing, you know, team-changing defensive player were to drop to 16, and that's how you kind of have to think about it. That's all I had. I know Jake's trying to get out the door.
Appreciate
Kyle,
you, Kyle.
Great call. All fair. I mean, Dylan, it could be simply fourth best receiver versus the number one offensive lineman. It could be Vega. It also could be Fano if he falls. The teams view him as a guard. And then you have guard, tackle, flexibility. Because again, we need to remember the Jets had the best health of any team in the league on their offensive line. Now they lost AVT, so that's the caveat. But like, what are the odds they have all 5 starters play all 17 games again? Right.
It's
so you're
so
going to
low.
need depth. Like, they brought back Max Mitchell. I don't know if people are thrilled and trust
And
him
Chooks.
necessarily. Yep.
And Chooks and Xavier Newman. So they're at least getting the bottom 3 offensive linemen on their team, and then they have what they believe to be their top 5. Now they can add to that and make Myers their 6th man, and I think that's definitely interesting. If I'm power ranking it, I would say offense, unless, like Kyle said, there is that defensive player that you absolutely can't pass on at 16.
Ruben Bain falls all the way to 16.
Yeah, or Styles or Downs or somebody literally like that. Like, then you cannot pass that up. But yeah, I think the priority should 100% be offense at 16 first.
Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls right now. Home stretch.
Joe Douglas should have been fired 2 days before he was hired.
What up, fellas? What up?
Hello, Gary.
I didn't get to call in yesterday, so first I wanted to glorify God. Want to thank God for yesterday, and I want to thank everyone who voted for me, and including people like Yo Holmes, who probably made 100 burner accounts for me to lose, and it still didn't work. So shout out to Jay Graves. I knew
It was close, though. At one point, it was like 56-44.
I looked through the bracket, and I was like, Jay Graves, there's a couple of matchups. I said, these could be tough, right? And Jay Graves was definitely one of them. That's not your typical 116 matchup. Shout out Jay Graves, and congratulations to Amanda as well. Shout out to Amanda. But you see what they're doing. They're trying to team up to take me down, right? It's like Floyd Mayweather. Oh, he's got to fight this guy. He's got to fight this. He's got to fight 7 guys in one night and beat Godzilla. Otherwise, he's ducking smoke, right? Like, look, everyone wants to take me down. I'm not even the number 1 overall seed. I'm just A1 seed. I'm just 1 of 4. And everyone wants to take me down. Thunderlips says his wife made an account just to vote against me. Look at it. Everyone wants to bring me down.
The hate votes are real.
I mean, Amanda's riding some big time momentum though into this battle because she now has made the list of the top 5 biggest blowouts and has Maniac Bandits tournament history.
Yeah, and she was the lower seed or higher seed or however you would say that. You want to piss me off? This right here, Jake, $23 pen, garbage. It says skip proof. We'll never skip. It skips everywhere. It's not even usable. I just bought it. $24 pen, $23.99. Garbage. Can't even use it. How frustrating that is, Jake.
For
Came
one
in today.
pen?
One pen, $24. It's supposed to never skip or smudge. $24. It skips. Like I have this pen here that's probably 89 cents. It writes better than the $24 pen. Unbelievable. You know how frustrating that is? It's so frustrating.
Why are pens $24?
Because it's well, you can get a pen a lot more than that. You can get a pen that's $100.
Is this really important?
It's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
Yeah. I got a multicolored pen that doesn't work. None of these colors work anymore except blue.
This pen probably 69 cents. It writes better than the $24 pen. It's frustrating. But I did have a question. The top 3 receivers. I think you addressed this, but what order would you draft them in? And because I got a second part to the follow, I got a follow-up question to that.
So, like, if I'm just the GM of all the teams, and I'm just trying,
considering everything, injury history, size, what order would you draft them in? The top 3.
Probably still Lemon, Tate, Tyson.
Okay. And then 4 and 5 would be Concepcion and Boston?
No, 4 would probably be Cooper, and then 5 would be Boston. 6 probably Concepcion.
Okay, so would you take 4? Would you take either of those guys? You said Boston at 4, or who'd you say 4?
Cooper 4, Boston 5, KC 6.
Would you consider taking any of those guys at 16, or do you think they would fall?
Only Omar Cooper, but I think you could trade back and get one of those guys. I don't think you're getting them at 33, though. I don't even think like KC will be there at 33. I think he'll probably go.
So I'm not going to call him Sadiq Bey. Kenyon Sadiq. Would you take him Would you take him or would you take Cooper at 16? If they're both available at 16, would you go with the tight end?
That's a 50-50. It's a complete toss-up. It just depends. Like if Frank Reich wants to run less 11 personnel and have, him or as your power slot and Mason with his hand on the line of scrimmage, I would prefer that. But I don't think they're going to prioritize 12 personnel. So I think predictively they would pick Cooper, but I think it's definitely a debate. And I would probably say it's like 52-48 lean Cooper, but I could easily be swayed to take Sadiq first.
If you don't, I mean, like I get it. 12 personnel is not what you do, but if you get two tight ends who are premier pass catchers, like just use 12 personnel, make it work. You know what I'm saying? Like make
the Browns last year. They had Njoku, and then they also had Harold Fannin, who popped off as a rookie. So you can make it work.
He was a giant slot Fannin too.
Gas station pizza is better than a Big Mac.
All right, wasted some time hearing about Gary's pen, but I'm finalizing the raffle names here. I got Jiggy and then Papa Jet will close this out before we give away a Wayne Corbett helmet. Hello, Jiggy.
What's up, man? It's been a while.
Where you been, Jiggy? We were trying to get you in the tournament because you're a good caller, but we couldn't find a spot for you. You didn't call in.
Yeah, man, I'm a little butthurt about that. But, life happens. I had to step away for a little bit, handle some things. But I'll be back now. Hopefully next March I'll be, in the March as Maniac Madness. But I got a hot take and then want to see what you guys think about, either one of the draft scenarios I have. My hot take is I really do think we're going to win anywhere between 7 to 10 games this year. I feel like I'm a little bit higher on Geno than most people.
That's a big range, though, Jiggy. Like, there's a big 10 wins, Glenn's coach of the year. 7 wins, he's not necessarily guaranteed to be here next year.
Exactly. But here's my point. Right? One, Geno is a gunslinger. For the people that really watched the games last year and really understand football, we had so many open concepts, which is the whole Aim Strand thing. That's a whole different thing. There were so many open receivers without a quarterback to actually get them the ball. Geno is going to get the ball out of his hands. That's the number one thing he's going to do. I trust Garrett on a 50-50 ball. I feel like I can trust Mason Taylor. He had a couple drops, but overall, offensively, last year wasn't a great year. Defensively, we made a lot of signings, and it's competent people that are going to understand how to fit into a system. We upgraded some coaches. I feel like we're going to sweep Miami. They're just in a whole nother atmosphere over there. I feel like we're going to split with Buffalo and the Pats. And then we always have those games where we get lucky, pull one out of our ass, and end up, winning the games. But we have a couple favorable games. We don't know when Patty's going to be back. We might get the Chiefs early, things like that. So I do believe anywhere between 7 to 10. I honestly don't think we should grab Omar Cooper at 16. I would either wait closer to the draft, try to get BTJ for 44, so that way we can either get Sadiq or Thieneman at that 16 spot, or even a guard from Penn State. That's an option I would go. Or it's a little bit of a stretch, but I feel like I heard this on somebody's show, maybe yours, Dylan, but the Commanders are at 7. Try to give them some capital. If we're going to go linebacker, if Styles is still there, try to ship Jamian over there, try to get them pick 44 because they don't pick again until 71. You know what I mean? So that's an option there. Or give them pick 44, give them 16, get 7, and then probably draft Caleb Downs. That's two ideas I have for the trade. I want to see what you guys think about that. And then, is my 7 to 10 too far-fetched for you guys?
Appreciate you, Jiggy. Calling more. We talked about this a little earlier, so if you go back, you can get more details on it, Jiggy. We would both be interested in trading up for a guy like Downs or Styles or someone. It's just tough to see the Jets doing that because I don't think these teams are going to want to do it unless you grossly overpay. And I don't see the Jets wanting to trade 16 and 33 to move up. Maybe they'd put 44 on the table for the right player, but if you're coming up to 7, I almost feel like they're coming up to 7 for a receiver at that point because they'd be a little weary of being at 16 and being stuck with Omar Cooper or not being able to get a receiver altogether potentially.
Yeah, 100%. And the win range, I'm probably on the lower end, but I think his low end would be my ceiling right now. I really got to see what they do in the draft. But yeah, it's not easy to look at this team and have playoff aspirations. I obviously understand they do, but I would say that my expectation is somewhere between 5 to 7. And I don't know if any of those win totals, maybe 7, you can convince Woody Johnson that AG gets year 3. But yeah, it's tough to go any higher than that until we see the draft.
Super chat from Cisco and the raffle for 2. Beast, you could accept Luby's offer and go to PA. Beast, are you coming to the draft party?
I don't. No, they did not. They didn't find her. The
Way to pay attention.
They wrote me
off. I ain't right back though.
Thank you very much, Beast.
I hope they find her.
Yeah, I hope they find her as well. Troy says, how's the 2028 draft class? Troy, I have no idea, and I'm not going to pretend like anyone does because it's in 2028. But thanks for the super chat. One more call, and then it is time for the raffle. Close us out, Papa.
Holy shit, look at that beard! He has a beard, he's the man. Ain't no Santa Claus. Papa Jet loves the Jets. He's one handsome son of a bitch. It's Papa Jet.
Hey guys, you got me?
Oh, we got you.
Oh yeah.
Look at that
Hey,
beard.
Look at that hoodie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'll make it quick. And before I forget, maybe Beast don't have bed bugs. He might be fighting the wrong thing. He's probably got like grease flies or something from cooking those burgers in there. You know?
Yeah. It all goes back to that. That and the peeing or pooping out of the window.
What does everybody?
Just like you know, you get fruit flies. I'm sure you can get some kind of crap from the all those burgers and the grease and all that crap. But anyways, I just wanted to call in saying as we get closer, I was all over Bailey to at the number 2 pick. But I think from Robbie Sabo's battle with Frankie V, and Clancy posted something on Reese too. I'm leaning towards Reese. I think with as many holes as we got, I just think the versatility's more important there, you know. And maybe he's, you know, not that far away. Like people say, you got to coach him up and he'll get better and all that. But he's such an athlete, you know. So I'm kind of leaning towards him. In fact, I would probably at this point draft Downs or Styles over Bailey right now. So
I think that's a really good argument. I would probably agree with that as well.
Yeah, even though I don't usually like drafting safeties in the top 10, like I don't usually like drafting guards in the first round. You know, you kind of have your rules, but I don't know if Downs is like Ed Reed. I think you'd take him, wouldn't you? You know?
Yeah.
So, but you never know until they start hitting the field. But that's all I got.
Papa, I agree with you on Reese. I think people they're underestimating his ability to be a fresh out of the box toy who's ready to go.
He's 20 years old. People don't talk about that. Bailey's 3 years older.
Yep. And what is he going to look like when he's Bailey's age, right?
Right.
I think
he'll be at least 15 more pounds. He's a freak. And
he only gained 8 pounds and played at 252. Like that's a hulking human being. His arms are ridiculous.
Beast says he had a business call.
Well, hopefully they find her, Beast. That's all I'll say.
Well, hopefully, Beast, you're able to send us to the Wheel of Champions because I have a signed Wayne Corbett helmet to raffle away.
It's Beast Breaker.
It's all goddamn muscle right here.
It's Beast Breaker.
Stringing the cheese. Woo!
It's Beast Breaker.
You clown sucking douchebag.
Let's hear it go Beast Breaker.
I got gas right now. Oh. Melvin. Does anyone remember that? Dylan Ted's Boogie's Journey? All right, boys. Send it over to... Okay, everybody. Out of the way. Macho Man Randy Savage here, conducting a long line for all you big fans of the world.
I got dinner plans. Let's speed this up.
Let's take a ride on the spaceship and get ready to fly high on the 2026 Wheel of Champions. Let's go there right now. Don't you know what I'm saying? Dig it!
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Cisco, I'll answer your question. I doubt Beast shows up to our draft party, but he'll tell you he'll be there in spirit, as he did for our Tampa meetup and our meetup at MetLife for the Panthers game this year. Anyway, good luck to everyone. This combines the entries across both our shows today. If you win, email me, asmanjake@gmail.com, your name and address, and I'll make sure you get the signed Wayne Corbett helmet. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wheel of Champions is being spun right now. And the winner is... Holy bleep! Are we going to have a scenario where back-to-back days, the Asmaniac Madness winner in the show is also the raffle winner? We are. The Chuck Wagon has won the raffle.
Chuck Wagon's always cooking, which it takes. Chuck Wagon's even cooking at the game. Chuck Wagon hates McDonald's, but he's headed home to cook. It's time once again for Chuck Wagon.
The Chuck Wagon's the winner of the prize and his Asmaniac Madness battle. Chuck Wagon, Wayne Corbett signed helmet, and a 65-35 win over Paul Fez in the 5-12 battle. It's the Chuck Wagon. Moving on. Shout out to the 415 people who voted. But it's the Wagon taking down Paul, 65-35. Again, your final. Congratulations to the Chuck Wagon. What a day. Yesterday, we had Luppy win a prize at a battle in Asmaniac Madness, and Chuck Wagon does it a day later. Pretty awesome. Congratulations. So we'll update the brackets tomorrow, but it will be Chuck Wagon moving on, and he'll face either Dave Briga or Tommy OG Jet Fan. That one will be in the morning, and then the afternoon will be JJ and Lou B. But this is tomorrow morning. This is tomorrow afternoon. But congratulations to the Chuck Wagon. Dylan, plug your channel. Tell everyone why they need to subscribe to immediately.
Well, first of all, the Dylan Tereman experience, as Jake calls it, it's exactly that. We talk a little bit of football. We talk a little bit of golf. We talk a little bit of life at the back end of the shows. We don't get as off the rails as this show, but at Dylan Tereman on YouTube, the flagship show, the Dylan Tereman Football Show. We have Draft Talk with DT, where we do mock drafts, mock reactions, going over the latest mocks from the foundational pillars of the draft community. We have the audio-only Believe in Jets podcast, BLEAV, wherever you get your podcasts. And, yeah, I'm not sure when I'm going live again, Cisco, but we've been going live in, like, the post-Jake Asman window, like the 6:30 to 7 o'clock range recently, and I think that's kind of the best window. So I think that's where we're going to stick as far as putting together a schedule. So the 6:30 to 7 window, probably 2 or 3 times a day as we get closer to the draft. Last week I did 4 live shows, Jake. It was pretty off the rails, but
welcome to the club.
Yeah, exactly. I won't hold you up anymore. Thank you for having me, as Maniacs, and shout out to Chuck Wagon 2 times. Shout out to Luppy. I know it was his birthday the other day. Happy belated. Mine's the 16th. His is the 17th. So appreciate everybody, and let's keep the Asmaniac Madness coming.
Love it. Big thank you to DT for hopping on. I'm going to tease something right now that I will talk more about tomorrow, but I'm being part of a brand new project, and I'll have all the details. The Discord's going to hear all about it first because I'm going to share the information. But I have a new Jet show that I'm a part of with Rich Cimini from ESPN and longtime sports radio host and diehard Jet fan, Brandon Tierney. We're going to be doing a show every week starting this Tuesday called the Jet Collective, and I'll have plenty of info on what's in store for this tomorrow on the show. But I wanted to tease it at the end, and I'll explain in the Discord what all the information is about this new show. But it's going to be me, BT, and Rich Cimini doing a podcast every week breaking down the New York Jets. So more info on that starting tomorrow, but I'll mention it here at the end of our show because I saw Cimini sent out a tweet announcing it on his social media. On that note, I want to thank DT again for hopping on. Thanks to everyone who tuned into the show. We are back at it tomorrow we have a great guest at 10 a.m. Gary Myers. We'll tell you why Arch Manning won't pull an Eli. He's going to be joining me to break that down and much more. I'll talk to you guys soon. As always, go Jets. Hit it, Fireman Ed.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets.